Boom, 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 boom. What's up, everybody? Can y'all hear me? Let me see. Where is it? Chatbox? Where is it? There it is. It should be visible. Oh, come on. Can y'all hear me? Let's see. Cool. Alright, the chat shows up here, but not here. Oh, there we go. Alright, cool. You can hear me a little bit. That's probably because I was talking low. Let me see if I can't turn up. You only see flames. Yeah, it's starting soon. Like waiting screen. I'm gonna put some letters up soon. Trying to figure that out. Alright, sound is good. Cool. Follow me on social media, everybody. Cool. Alright, I know y'all are seeing the fancy animations, and you're also seeing the fancy backdrops, and you're like, what the fuck, Sir Hunt's done changed on us? Don't worry, I'm the same. I think this is now up to the level of my knowledge base, right? Alright, cool. So yeah, I'll probably mess up at some point with this. I'm using something called Streamlabs. I think most YouTubers use it, but I'm behind on the times. Yeah, the room this is what I think the most exciting thing, obviously. Setting up a new room is exciting, but when I started recording, there was this buzz, like this hum that I had for years with this microphone, and I just assumed that it was like a defective or something. But as soon as I set it up downstairs with my laptop, that's gone. So not only is the buzzing gone, but also this room has like blankets on the walls behind me, in front of me. So yeah, some soundproofing. Cool. I got some questions for Patreon, and also, we're gonna be talking about some potential, Game of Thrones spinoffs, prequels, sequels, whatever you want to call them. I just want to get I think most fans want this, a fleshed out universe. Like, obviously the main TV show told, the main storyline for the most part. There were some characters left out. I'm not here to talk about that. I think the main thing the TV show did, Game of Thrones did, was obviously make people want more. Like, without Game of Thrones being the greatest television series of all time, we wouldn't have House of the Dragon, right? So I think it did an amazing job in establishing that, hey, these books that George R. Martin is still alive and writing are worth putting as many eyes as possible on, I guess, But one of the first ones, I ran a poll earlier, right? I ran a poll yesterday, and I did two different random actors that I think personally would be like, I wanted to subvert expectations, obviously, right? But I also think they do a really good job in the role of, like, who would be a better Aegon the Conqueror, right? Harry Potter, right? So Daniel Radcliffe, or the dude who played, he's in We're the Millers. His name is slipping me right now, but more people chose him than Harry Potter. But I think the problem, I just want to talk about that poll real quick, because I commented, I left like a nasty comment, and then I deleted the poll itself because I was like, nobody likes my choices, so I threw a tantrum and deleted it, right? But in the comment that I posted like minutes before I deleted it, I was like, I think people have the wrong idea of who Aegon the Conqueror was, right? So a lot of people will, you assume that it's a lot of people because there's a lot of like interactions on the post that I'm referencing, right? So where someone would do a fan casting of Henry Cavill as Aegon the Conqueror, that would be awesome. As someone who likes movies and stuff, that'd be cool as shit. Also, Henry Cavill would probably get he probably either already has read A Song of Ice and Fire or would read the entirety of it and then go and play Aegon. So that would be dope, right? But then you have people that would put posts of actors who do, you know, all types of, mostly Vikings, like characters from Vikings, right? Male characters from Vikings. Like, this dude should play Aegon. This dude should play Aegon, right? But I think the reason why Aegon was able to do what he did was because he wasn't an actual Maegor the Cruel type of conqueror. It's like, we get the most information. I don't know what's mentioned in him in Rise of the Dragon. I haven't read that, right? But I've read Fire and Blood. The information that we get in the way that I perceived it is that Aegon, the Conqueror, probably was somebody who, of course he was, like, physically fit, but he wasn't, like, physically imposing. I think he was a really good negotiator, right? So, like, obviously, we have famous examples of when he, like, tells Hair in the Black, he's like, all right, you're gonna die inside your castle. Everybody's gonna die here. You made your decision. I'm gonna murder you, right? So then you have that as being a really, popular depiction of him, because that's a badass scene, right? Like, if you're seeing it in a movie or if you're reading it, it's a badass scene. But you also have to realize what happens, or like, I guess, take his character as a whole and realize that, like, even the small folk liked him. Like, yeah, he did that to Hair in the Black, and the small folk in the Riverlands hated Hair in the Black, so it's not like he, like, would have been hated for doing that deed, right? I'm getting kind of sidetracked here. Let me take a couple of seconds to, like, just reorganize my brain. Aegon is not a Maegor, right? That's the main point I'm trying to make. I think he's more of someone who was, like, he probably had like a sick reputation, but then when you see him, you're like, oh man, he's a really nice guy. He's a nice dude. Like, that's what I'm trying to explain, right? So, like, you don't want to fuck with him if you've never met him, because he's got a crazy reputation. But then when you do meet him, you're like, oh man, he's a nice dude. But I would assume that if I were to get on his bad side, he'd fuck me up, right? Like, that's the type of dude Aegon is. So if you want to have someone hammer that role, right? Because I think now all of the Targaryen male leads are going to be looked, not just Viserys in Game of Thrones, right? Harry Lloyd played him. And then you had John Cena play Rhaegar. A lot of people don't know that. John Cena actually played Rhaegar, Jon Snow's dad, in Game of Thrones, right? But now everybody's going to be looking at Viserys and Daemon, right? Obviously Paddy Considine and Matt Smith. Those are the two Targaryen males. And then obviously we have Aegon 2 coming up, and then Aemon. So there's a bunch of, different Targaryens that you have to, compete with. And I think making Aegon, it doesn't even have to be an A-list dude like the guy it's Will something as the other guy, but Daniel Radcliffe and the kid from We're the Millers, right? He was supposed to be the lead in the new Lord of the Rings show, but then he backed out and did. Isn't he Adam Warlock? He's Adam Warlock in the new Guardians of the Galaxy movie. But I feel like someone like that who actually has acting talent, right? Because I seen that dude Adam Warlock in something on Netflix. I can't remember what it was. I've seen probably like 100 movies. I've seen 100 movies. Isn't that impressive? I've seen 100 movies. No, I've honestly seen probably like 250 movies if I had to guess. And that's a very conservative guess. Like, I've been watching films. I've been watching films since I was a little boy. But yeah, like, what was I about to say? Yeah, so let me actually, talk about some prequel stuff. Well, actually, I am, because I hope we get an Aegon the Conqueror at some point. We need to get a miniseries, possibly a movie. But I think someone who can act their ass off, and that a lot of the times it'll be an A-list actor, because, someone like Daniel Radcliffe, like, yeah, he was in all the Harry Potter movies, but been in like 10 movies since then that have all been dope. So, dude can act. And then the other guy too, like I said, I seen him on something on Netflix, but I don't remember what it was. It was something about he was like the game developer. Maybe it was an episode of Black Mirror or something. He was like a game developer or something. I was like, holy shit, that's the kid from We're the Millers? What the fuck? But yeah, so someone, I don't know. I feel like Daniel Radcliffe and that guy keep wanting to say Will Arnett, but I know it's not Will Arnett. That's the dude from SNL, right? Oh. I saw someone say that I was more subdued or something in one of my videos, which was a random comment, right? I've never seen anybody comment that. But that's because I don't have to be as loud. So the buzzing upstairs, like I try to consciously overtalk that because I could hear it coming. I think it might have actually just been my speakers now that I'm thinking about it. If I had turned my speakers off, but I always leave them on because I want to check to see if my mic is on and stuff, right? You know? But yeah, oh yeah, by the way, I know y'all, everybody watching this probably knows this, but that's my boy Jay Fox right there. You know what I'm saying? He just posted a wolf image. So a wolf, I don't even know what that painting, yes, but I was gonna say wolf joint, duality of wolves on his Instagram. And he also told me that he's working on a Jon Snow like that. It's gonna look like it's not gonna be Jon Snow in Daemon's armor, but it's gonna be like a profile. That's what he said. Jon Snow profile. So that's gonna be dope. You know, I'm gonna have to. He already gave me that one. I'm gonna have to buy the Jon Snow one from. I'll be over there. I know it was an insane amount of money to send it to me from England. So yeah, shout out to my boy Jay Fox. You're gonna be getting shout outs in every video. I know I've said that, and I know I've missed some videos, but don't worry. For years, till I get the Jon Snow paint. Then just kidding. But yeah, so. Prequels. All right, so let's talk about Jon Snow. That's a perfect segue. Segue King, Sir Hunts. So what would the plot be? That's a fun one, right? So I got this. Y'all can't see it. I thought it was in the camera, but I got this right here. One of the annoying things about Audible is every time I want to switch and go to the books, which doesn't happen often. I don't get enough time to hold one of these and read it, and then also pay attention to two small babies at the same time. And then also, you know, it's just nice to, after listening to so many hours, thousands of hours of audiobooks, I like being read to. It's like a performance. It's another media consumption. Like you watch movies, you know, I watch documentaries and stuff. It's another form of that. It's just, I look at it as an audio podcast of something that I'm way more interested in than some of the other podcasts that I listen to. Because I listen to some podcast audio when I'm riding around. I like to listen to the Game of Thrones books when I'm riding around because that always trips people out, especially when I was in my Mustang. Somebody sees my loud ass Mustang pull up and then Tyrion grab the one. Like my favorite is when one time I forgot it was on and it was like one of the sex scenes and Shay's like yes, and you know our boy Roy Dotrice really goes the extra mile in that. And people are like looking like what the fuck, dude? Because you know the Mustang stereo system is loud. But yeah, one of the annoying things about Audible is what I was going to say is that every time I want to switch, I have to manually look up what chapter it is because it's a very simple thing for them to put the number of the chapter next to it, but they don't do that. So I actually had something in here marking the chapter, but it fell out. That's not going to work. That wasn't the one that I was on. Of course, the first one that I opened to is John, but that's not the one that I was on. There's just a little one sentence that I wanted to read that I was like, oh yeah, this will be a good. I'll have it pulled up and I'll slyly pull my book out, you know, and read some stuff. I pretty much. Actually, now that I'm saying that I remember it, I don't remember it. But the prequel part of this, the Jon Snow thing, I didn't have much to talk about other than potentially what the plot would be. And I can't find it, so wasting time. Yeah, I think I've said this a bunch of times. I feel like I've mentioned all of the ideas that I would have for the Jon Snow show. But one of the ones that I was thinking of recently about listening to one of Jon's POVs was when Sam is gone, right? In A Feast for Crows. The entirety of it, he's making his way to Old Town. But when you get John's POVs in a dance, Sam had recently left, right? So John has this dream or something, and in the dream, he thinks Sam is in a shipwreck or something like that. He thinks the ship that they left on from Eastwatch by the Sea is in a wreck. And then right after that, there's a conversation that he has with Dolores Ed. And Dolores Ed says something like, if I die, I thought it was going to be by burning, right? And he's like, but I thought I'd be dead first. Dolores Ed is hilarious, right? But he just says that, knowing where they're at the wall, right? The idea that the others are kind of always around them, but not necessarily a threat unless they're actively engaging in battle with them, because they still will send ranging missions north of the wall and stuff. It just made me think, like, that's actually could be the entirety of the plot. Like, would just be them at the wall. Like, no matter which way Dan and Dave handled episode 3, right? Like, writing-wise, the Night King and that threat, not the Night King himself, but the others, right? Defending the wall itself. The wall still stands. Like, just a chunk of the wall was burned and melted down, but the wall itself is still there, right? John walks through it in the last episode, with ghost by him. So, that would be, I think, the whole premise of the show, in my opinion. Like, just have John at the wall, right? I'm sorry, not John. I think this would piss people off, but it would be dope. Because I remember when season 6 came back, I don't think John came back until episode 2. If he came back in episode 1, it didn't happen until the end. But I remember that wait from season 5 to season 6 was nuts, because everybody was like, he's still dead in the books. So how he comes back on the show, it's probably going to happen, right? Well, we've seen him in the trailer, right? At the Battle of the Bastards. Actually, I can't wait for them to do shit like that with House of the Dragon. Like, maybe with the fake out. I don't know how they would get something as massive as Jon Snow's death, right? That's huge. It's still active, and he's still dead right now. The fictional character, is still dead right now. So, yeah. But yeah, I just remember the excitement was like nuts. So you have the first 2 episodes of the new Jon Snow show basically consist of no Jon Snow. You get, like, new characters, mostly new characters, maybe one. I don't even remember if Dolores had survived. I literally have only seen season 8 like twice. I'll probably watch it again soon, but I think Dolores is still alive, so you have him and some rain, and they like talk about Jon, and then eventually, 3rd episode, someone goes to meet Jon Snow, right? Here's the thing. The rumors that they hear about Jon are fucking weird. They hear some weird stuff, and Dolores decides to go. If he's still alive, I don't even know. That's how bad of a fan I am. I've watched seasons 1 through 7 10 times. Go watch my videos. The one with the 1,000,000 views shows you that. I'm just kidding. Little bit of a brag there. No, I'm just saying. But no, massive fan. I've only watched season 8 like twice. Obviously I watched it a bunch when I was making my review videos on it, but that doesn't count like as a whole. I actually stop right after Jon Snow comes back. And then I'll usually by then I've already, if I'm on like a fantasy watching bin, I've already either rewatched the first season of this show that actually came back on Amazon. It has a 2nd season randomly. Can't think of the name of it right now, but Legolas is in it, and he plays this dude who's a fairy, but he had his wings cut off. It's insane. I know it's a crazy description, but then I watch that, and then I'll jump to anime. I've watched all of the classics, so right now I've been rewatching Dorohedoro. You know what I mean? That's my fantasy. Like, I just did that, a couple of weeks ago. I went through that cycle of watching those things. But, yeah, so they get weird rumors, right? The rumors are I don't know what they would be exactly, but it would basically make it seem like Jon Snow is not the person who's perpetrating these crimes. Like maybe there'll be reports of whatever village that Jon Snow survived in. He took 150 people with him, Tormund being one of them, but Tormund is confirmed to be dead, right? And like that'll be the first report is that someone brings Tormund's head back to the wall, right? Everybody expects Tormund to be in the show, but he isn't, right? I'm getting to it. And then I want to reveal it, but I'm trying to build up to it, right? So then that's the first report. That's like the opening scene of the show. Tormund's head with milk stains on it being carried to Eastwatch by the sea to be taken to Castle Black, shown to the Lord Commander. And then they're like, hey, what? Like, obviously, if they find Tormund's head, Jon Snow is going to be back. Like they're gonna have some reports, right? But there isn't. There's no news, and it's been 10 years since the events of the main series. By the time Jon Snow show comes out, it will be 10 years, right? So those reports are nuts. Another one, aside from Tormund's head being brought back, Jon's wife brutally murdered. There's no evidence of that, but that's just a rumor. His kids are missing. Their bodies haven't been found, but his kids are missing, right? That's the other rumor. So then episode 3 starts out with the journey back to, I don't know why I waited 3 episodes to do it, but that's how you got to build the suspense back up to get to the Jon Snow show, right? Episode 3 starts out with the journey. They're going north of the wall, right? I don't know who the companions would be, but you're definitely going to be pulling up Azor Ahai on his magical journey north of the wall to go and, seek the help of the Children of the Forest, right? But instead of the Children of the Forest, it's Jon Snow, and instead of the original group of companions in the Age of Heroes, it's this group of Night's Watch dudes. I think the main Game of Thrones show kind of did that when they did the North of the Wall episode where they went to go capture White. But that's like a bastardized version of that, right? So they have basically the heroes and their companions traveling to the last reports of where they get to the village, and then they confirm Jon Snow's wife, who's Val. They just won't ever say her name or confirm that it's Val or something like that, because that would be too corny, right? It's a TV show. But Jon did marry Val on the TV. That would be awesome, right? Because everybody kind of wants that. And then she's dead. And then they're like, what the fuck? This is nuts. And then, eventually, you find out Jon Snow is the Night King. Dum dum dum. No, I'm just kidding. But no, for real. Jon Snow's the Night King. Why not? He said he wanted to play an evil role. I don't know. All right. So then some of the other prequels, Robert's Rebellion, right? Won't spend too much time talking about this, but that would be fun because if the Jon Snow show is a success, which it will be, right? And they don't have to do the Night King plot. That was corny. That was stupid. I actually think the thing that I said in my Jon Snow video from like 2 months ago, I remember I said, I think it would be cool to have his son, Jon has to escort his son down south to be the new king in King's Landing. That also sounds corny, but the whole idea of Jon Snow coming back in his show, some people think is corny, so you can't win, right? I love the idea. I think a lot of fans love the idea too. Like 1,000 people earlier voted in just a few hours that they're most excited for the Jon Snow show over the Doom of Valyria and the Corlys show, which they announced the Corlys show would be a spinoff. I did see some people say that it would be boring. I don't think it would be boring. I think they need to expand Corlys's lore. Like if more show watchers were aware of what he does in the books, they would get excited about it because you get to see some insane parts of Westeros. Matter of fact, Corlys' storyline in the books directly links with Daenerys' eggs being stolen because he sees Sunchaser, which is originally Jenna Farm in West Hill, right? She goes by different names, but basically, I've explained this a bunch. I don't need to explain it again. Daenerys' eggs initially are given to her by the cheesemonger at her wedding to Khal Drogo, and it's you kind of wonder, how did the cheesemonger get these eggs? He's not he wasn't a Valyrian on the TV show, but he potentially could be a Blackfire in the books. I don't want to go down that route. So he ends up seeing Sunchaser, which is the ship that Alice Westhill is going, like, I wouldn't say she's going somewhere. She may be there. She may just be doing, like, her normal shit on that side of the world, right? But he sees her ship beaten up and in the ports in Valyria. A shy, not Valyria. And that's interesting because Jaehaerys, during his time, right? So the old guy that we see in episode 1, 3 eggs are stolen via Alice Westhill. She has a relationship with Jaehaerys' sister, right? She ends up stealing the dragon eggs because they have a falling out. And those dragon eggs are, we believe, or at least I believe, the context that's given to us in Fire and Blood is that she immediately uses them in Braavos to buy a ship. That ship is Sunchaser. Corlys sees Sunchaser in a port, in a shy. And a shy is this crazy, like, it's basically a nuclear wasteland. Like, you remember the episode of The Simpsons where the fish have 3 eyes? That's most artistic depictions of this. They have, like, green rivers. And I think maybe George might be influenced from... Well, no, that wouldn't be the case because the movies came out. Those movies came out after George already wrote the book, so never mind. Let me not say that. But yeah, so basically, you know, a shy is this place where, in short, it looks like a nuclear fallout, right? So the rivers are like how the rivers are in Ohio right now. That's not funny. I wasn't even trying to make a joke, but no, that's how heavily polluted they are. Like, this place is so contaminated that when animals are brought to this location, they die. Humans are less sensitive to it, so they are manipulated and corrupted by it, but the ways that it manipulates the human body aren't well documented. What we do know is that it kills animals almost immediately, right? So Corlys, on one of his many journeys, goes to this place, Ashai, which most people, when you read about that, you want to see it visually. You can't wait to see how they depict it, right? You want these green or, I don't know if it's iridescent or bioluminescence, right? Glowing green rivers, right? There's fish in these rivers, so there is some life in them, but nobody eats those fish. The only people that eat them are the Shadowbinders, which is what Melisandre is. Melisandre probably ate a few of these mutated crazy fish, right? That live in these crazy, rivers, right outside of Shai. So Alice Westhill, Alyssa Farman, she steals these eggs as a direct fault. Like, she has a falling out with... Now, here's the thing. I always say Jaehaerys' his sister because she's older than Jaehaerys, but also her name is either Rhaena or Rhaenys or one of the other million AE names, and I can't remember it. But I remember the one who stole the dragon eggs, right? I could look it up. Fire and Blood's right there, but I don't have time. I'm trying to keep keep on track here. So yeah, that was kind of disappointing that not as many people were excited, I think, about the Corlys show. But the Robert's Rebellion one, I think, would be good to help with the Jon Snow one, because with the Robert's Rebellion show, everybody knows what that is. Robert starts a rebellion because Rhaegar kidnaps Lyanna. Those are Jon Snow's parents, right? And initially, Lyanna's betrothed to Robert Baratheon, but Rhaegar kind of falls in love with her, and they steal away. And Lyanna probably never would have loved Robert anyway, because Robert, is who Robert is, right? So he causes a rebellion. But also, at the same time, there's this dude in power named the Mad King. The Mad King is Daenerys' father, right? So Jon Snow's granddad. Also, Daenerys is Jon Snow's aunt. Everybody knows this. But yeah, so... Robert's like, fuck that. He took my girl. But also, you gotta realize, at the time, he's known as the Mad King because he's also called King Scab because he gets cut so much from the Iron Throne that he just has scabs all over him. But also, he has really long fingernails. His hair is unkept. A lot of people hadn't seen him in a while, and when they see him at the Tourney Harrenhal, they're shocked because of how crazy he looks, right? But he does this terrible thing in killing Ned Stark's father. Rickard and Brandon. So Ned Stark's older brother Brandon and his father are killed, and that's like the two things that makes Robert's Rebellion happen. So we could potentially get to see those. And if they wait long enough, after the Jon Snow show has its first season, you could cast completely new actors. I mean, they could do it right now, but I'm just saying Game of Thrones came out not that long ago, so it'd be weird to see somebody playing potentially Ned Stark 10 years younger. Would be Shaun being 10 years younger, right? But it would be a completely different actor. And you can't get the dude that's now playing Elrond on the Lord of the Rings show, who played the young version of Ned Stark, because he's going to be busy with the Lord of the Rings show, right? Speaking of, my dumbass, I was going to make a Lord of the Rings video the other day, and it would have been perfect, because I haven't done the Lord of the Rings video in a while, but also, the news that they're going to be making new movies. Really exciting. I was like, oh, no, nobody wants to watch my Lord of the Rings shit. But that would have been a good video to get in the algorithm. So, probably should have did that. But anyway, yeah, the Robert's Rebellion show would be really cool because, like I was saying, it could add significance to Jon Snow's parentage. And you can kind of remind everybody how important Jon Snow's lineage is. And then the next one is Dunk and Egg. And that's cool because that's like, the Night of the Seven Kingdoms, right? But also, it's really going to be a Blackfire Rebellion show, right? That's going to be the main premise of it because... I mean, I don't think it's greenlit. I think it's in pre-production, which is like, it's greenlit in the sense that they hired a writer, this dude named Steve Conrad, who did the Rome series. But it would just be cool to get to see the Blackfire Rebellion. Now that I'm actually thinking about it live, right? I think that would be too much to have another Targaryen succession crisis. It's kind of the plot of House of the Dragon, except for the Blackfire Rebellion is no dragons. It's eggs. There's dragon eggs. There's Bloodraven with dragon eggs. There's a whole thing of how sneaky Bloodraven has some midgets. I think that's the proper term. It might be dwarf for little people, but I feel like little people is more offensive than midget. Midget is the medical term. But yeah, he basically hires these little folk to steal this dragon egg. It's really cool. He doesn't hire them. I guess he does hire them. But yeah, I don't know. It would be cool to get that as a series. I just don't know if it would be something that they would rush out or rush in to try to get, more people involved with it, to try to greenlit it to at least film a pilot or something like that, because it's literally a Targaryen succession crisis. Although you could run it under the guise of, no, it's not a Targaryen succession crisis. It's about this dude, Dunk, who's this lowly hedge knight, right? And you get to see all of Westeros. He goes pretty much to Dorne, and then George tells us that he's, directly related to Hodor and Brienne of Tarth, so those two locations are clearly going to be visited at some point in the stories of the Night of the Hedge Kingdom. A Night of the Hedge Kingdom. That's a good one. Maybe that's what I would name my book, Night of the Hedge Kingdom. But the Hedge Knight series, there's going to be some more stories. Like, one of them was supposed to be called the She-Wolves of Winterfell, so we know they go up there. They could actually run the series under that. So it's going to be starring Dunk and this little kid, Egg, who's the future king, right? But you could also have the Blackfire plot going on. The Dunk and Egg series, if George fills it out more, you could actually have like another Game of Thrones, because there's the fact that there's no dragons. They would have to, or George would have to fill in a lot of these plots and murders and the same events that we get happening in Night of the Seven Kingdoms, right? And those three novella, but it's witnessed through Dunk's perspective, which is interesting because none of George's main series is written from just one POV, and those books for the most part are written from his perspective, which I think that's why a lot of people liked him, because George really shows how talented he is in that aspect. Which is, I don't know if it's traditional. The books that I read, like Dune, fucked me up at first when I was reading it because it switches perspectives a lot. Like, you'll get the perspective of all the people in the conversation, and especially in the audiobook. When you're listening to the audiobook, it switches back and forth, so it was a lot of he said, she said, like, to try to, I don't know, it was confusing. But once you get into the swing of that just shows you I don't read a lot of books. That's the only books I can reference is, like, Dune, Lord of the Rings, and A Song of Ice and Fire. But to be fair, those books are pretty hefty. You know what I mean? But so yeah, I don't know if a lot of authors do that kind of perspective nowadays in modern writing, where they switch it completely around, where, like, let's say two people are having a conversation and you get to know this person, Harry, right? You get to know, hey, he has a gun in his pocket, right? And then it'll switch and be like, hey, Sally has a turret pointed at Harry from behind him, and he doesn't know it. And it would be way easier for Sally to fire that, like that kind of thing. I don't know, you know? But yeah, that's a little short story I'm working on. That's a little sample. Just gave it to you guys live. A little sample of the story that I'm working on. What is this little thing down here? Alert box. Let's see. Wait, what is... Okay. Those names have been sitting there. I think those are some subscribers of mine, but they subscribed like the last time I used Streamlabs, which was, I think, back when... yeah. See, I got some notifications in here. Luckman Daniels became a member 2 years ago. So, yeah, some of those things are outdated. I just hid that just because it's kind of distracting me. I keep thinking that those people are typing, but the chat box is over here. Which I'm going to... Let me do that right now, actually. Shout out to Bridget, Scott, Elijah, Jay, and John Haymaker, and everybody else watching that may not be typing in the chat. Alright, so let's see. Yeah, the Dunk and Egg show would be cool because it would be different. Like, most of the perspectives of the TV show have been, like, Jon Snow is, you know, potentially King of the North, right? And then all the other perspectives, same like Sansa, Arya, all the other main characters are people from high up houses. Dunk is this dude that is not. So it's really cool to not only get to see all of the Seven Kingdoms from his perspective, but also get to know a character like that. So the casting, like, a lot of people were concerned with and the actor being tall enough, because that's why he's kind of famous and wins a lot of the fights that he gets in, is because of how strong and how tall he is, right? So you obviously want the actor to, you know, be physically imposing like that, but also he's got to be a good actor because he's the main alongside Egg, which will also be challenging to cast. You would have to, I think, for Egg, they would need to cast a young-looking actor that's maybe in their 20s, mid-20s or something, early 20s, that have had some experience doing it, but looks young, so they'd be able to play, you know, Egg, this like 11 or 12. I can't remember exactly how old Egg is, but he's pretty young, so you would need someone like that. And then obviously he'd be aged up a little bit for the TV show anyway. He'd probably be like 16 for the TV show version of him anyway. So I think, you know, an actor like that would work. All right. Let's see. So, The Doom of Valyria. All right, that'll be the last prequel that I'm going to talk about. And then I'm going to jump into my patrons' questions. How long has this live stream been? Can't see on the Streamlabs thing. Well, I know I started, like, right at 8, so it's probably been, like, 40 minutes. All right, yeah, Doom of Valyria. So, the plot of that would clearly be no Targaryens. I think that would be the most exciting thing about the Doom of Valyria, and I don't know if people realize that, but the Targaryens are gone. Not just, like, 12 years before it happens, but also, like, they're not that significant during this time period. So that's why the show's exciting. You get to see, canonically, people of all ethnicities, which is cool because obviously diversity is needed in movies. Like, you know, it's been overdone a little bit, right, recently, but it's definitely needed. And that's why the Doom of Valyria would be a dope show, because you could have Asian, I was about to say aquatic people. You could have people of aquatic ethnicities, right? So mermaids, mermen, right? But no, seriously, you could have all of the other different, because that's probably what Valyria looked like. Like, they would just have traits like purple eyes and the white hair. Purple eyes and white hair in the books. Not white hair, but precious metal is how it's described, like beaten gold and silver. There are some Targaryens whose hair is white, though. Gray. Well, not gray. White. Bloodraven. Bloodraven's hair is white, and that's because he's albino, right? So yeah, that's why the Dune would be a really cool show. Is like you could canonically do whatever the fuck you wanted to. The main thing that happens is that Targaryens are Brian Johnson just donated $20 through Super Chat. Thank you. I want to get really loud and excited, but I don't know. I don't have an audio mixer right here. I'm just gonna do it. Thank you, Brian, for that. I really appreciate that. It's very sweet of you. If you want a video or something like that made, just let me know. You are a member of my Dragon Knight tier on Patreon. So you always kind of can request a video anytime you want, but just let me know. Thank you for that. But yeah, Doom of Valyria would be, what did you? It's tax refund season. Hey, Sir Hunts, thanks. This is the message from Brian. Hey, Sir Hunts, was late, but thanks for your hard work. Thank you. Thank you for that. This is fun. Like, I guess the repetitiveness of learning all this stuff is kind of hard work, but to be honest, this is fun. You know what I mean? Streaming and stuff. Sometimes making the videos when the show is actually on, that gets stressful. But thank you. So yeah, the Doom of Valyria would be cool because, like I said, no Targaryens, but also you could kind of do whatever you wanted. The main thing that happens is it's the downfall of all of the people that ride dragons, right? So it's exciting because you get George drops hints of what happened, right? So we know that anybody who goes there, you die, you're dead, you're a dead person, right? So in the TV show, I think they did the Ruins of Valyria is where they sent the Stonemen, because in the books, the Bridge of Dreams is where people with grayscale are sent with that affliction. It may be somewhere different in Westeros for the TV show. I can't remember if they said that they send, but I think they made it seem like Old Valyria was where the Stonemen attacked Jorah and Tyrion on the boat, and that's really stupid. There was no reason to do that. It happened at this thing called the Bridge of Dream, because they're on the Rhoynar, which is this river. That name probably sounds familiar, because Nymeria took her people that lived on the Rhoynar. They were called the Rhoynish people, right? The Rhoynar is this massive river that is dope because some of the lore with the Rhoynar is that they would summon water, like massive amounts of water. They were known as water wizards, right? So they would wage water warfare on the Targaryens, right? So that's dope. I've never heard of anything like that. I've read quite a bit, and I've watched hella bits of fantasy. I haven't quite seen a successful water wizard pull off, other than obviously Avatar: The Last Airbender. A waterbender is probably pretty close to what these Rhoynish... And check this out. Some more lore. The way they looked. I just saw something popped up. What was that? Oh. Jay has super chatted. Thank you. $4.99. Love you. I'm drunk and busy, but have one AirPod in just to be here. Nice. Thanks, man. Shouts out. I am not drinking currently, but I did have some coffee right before. And the coffee that I make, I consider a drink. Recently got into Italian espresso coffee. That's why I'm if I hadn't had one in like an hour or so, and I had one recently, this is kind of like me. I like it because I'm kind of crashing, but at the same time I can think really clearly. So I guess it's not just that I don't have to be as loud because there's no buzzing, but also I'm like coming down from the coffee. But it's an insane amount. Like, go look at my Instagram. See all the Instagram posts that I record when I'm on the caffeine. Check this out. I had a video that went fucking viral on Instagram. Not to toot my own horn, but no, yeah, to do that. It got 7,000 views. But 700 likes, which is nuts. And I actually had like 3 people that followed me directly from that post, which is really cool. I was bullshitting. I think I can sound like Kurt Cobain, right? I do a little bit. But I've never like tried to record something and then make it sound professional or anything like that. But that fucking Instagram reel went viral. Instagram let me know, hey, this is getting a ton of traffic, which it did, because it got, and not just 3 people that followed me from that, but also people that went to my page. It made like 1,500 people go to my page, which ended up making Instagram offer me something called a bonus, where if I put out 5 reels or something like that, they'll give me $100, which is fucking nuts. And I don't know how often they do it, and I don't know if $100 is a lot to me, but I'm just saying, there's probably people that do that the same thing that I did that get like a lot more view. That's something. Instagram is something that I'm gonna continue to be silly in. But yeah, usually most of those posts is right after I've had the Italian coffee. But thank you for that super chat, Jay, and also thank you, Breanne Johnson, and also thank you for all the people watching right now. I'm gonna switch the backdrop up. Yeah, I know it's a fireplace right now. I wanted to look and see if it was skipping when I was live. Because I tried to do this on regular OBS one time, and it just stuttered, and it looked crazy the whole time. But when you pay $20 for OBS, Streamlabs, it should look good. Let me click on it and see. Does anybody else get the ad for this guy on not just my videos, but watching YouTube? This guy is so fucking annoying. He jumps up on the screen out of nowhere, right? I'll be watching. I watch a lot of, like I said, documentaries, and then also car videos. There's these two people, Chris Fix and Andrew Camerata. I watch pretty much always, if I'm on YouTube, I'll watch one of theirs, and then also Pawn Stars. Pawn Stars is my shit. I've seen most episodes of Pawn Stars, but I've seen all the videos that the Pawn Stars channel uploads. The way I don't see ads on them unless I'm watching them on my phone through the app, because there's no way to block those. But you can do it through Safari if you have an iPhone. And you have Safari, right? Go just download this app called AdBlock. It'll block all the ads on YouTube, right? But when I'm watching on my phone, can't do that. This fucking guy right here, dude, so annoying. He's like, I'm going to jump in this pool. I'm going to jump in this pool if you don't click on it right now, I'm just jumping. You know what I say? I say, I hope there's acid in that pool, buddy. Like, what the hell? He's so annoying. But anyway, this was the ad that was playing on my live stream, so I'm complaining about this dude, but I probably made like 10 cents from this interaction right there. But yeah, that guy's annoying as hell. Oh no, the fire's not skipping. It actually looks pretty good. So I could probably make this a dragon roaring. I know I always say stuff and then most of the time don't follow through with it, but I've been seriously learning how to use After Effects, and I think if I make the jump and buy this, I don't know what it's called, but I've been watching a lot of videos of people doing stuff. It's called Blender or something. If I learn how to use that, which there is apparently, like, I could transfer the key effects or the shortcuts that I use or whatever in Adobe to Blender. I don't even know if Adobe makes Blender, but I could make a dragon roaring and like make it myself, which is really cool. That fireplace thing is a loop that I bought from Adobe stock, but I didn't make it. It looks like an actual fireplace, doesn't it? I just thought it would look good. Sorry, Damon. I know the mic stand is in your fucking face the whole time. I'm just kidding. But yeah. All right, Valyria would be amazing because I never revealed the cool thing about the Roinish people. They're water wizards, but also the way they look is probably would be, if done correctly, the most aesthetically pleasing armor in Game of Thrones, or I guess in A Song of Ice and Fire, because the way it's described is amazing. I'm gonna look this up directly, but before I do that, I think I remember because it was so cool. They have turtle helms, which initially doesn't sound cool, but the turtle helms are golden. Wait, no. They have helms in the shape of fish, and they have turtle shields. Now I'm going to look it up because I can't remember, but their armor is dope. Roinish armor. No, I don't mean ranch armor. What the hell is ranch armor? Oh, come on. I forgot the Y, and it's like pulling up Ronish armor. Good to know there's something called Ronish armor, though. They're turtle gods. You know what, dude? I said I wasn't going to do this because that shelf is not up there well. I need to put some more stuff up. Hang on a second. pull out this old index right here. Pull up these Roinish. That's what's frustrating about looking up super deep stuff about the lore. But this potentially we could see these dudes in the Doom of Valyria, right? So it's not mentioned that the Roinish people had a hand in the downfall of Valyria. It's actually mentioned that they literally destroyed the Roinish people. The remnants of them went to Dorne, right? So they survived through House Martell. How they married into House Martell as soon as they got there. And they also established the fact that there's queens that rule Dorne if there's no if the daughters are older than the males. So that's cool. Nymeria took 2 husbands, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe she married again after the initial Martell dude that she married died, right? But they could have a hand in the downfall of Valyria. Like, they could manipulate it a little bit, and I would be happy just so we could get to see these badass turtle wizard. They're not wizards, they're turtle warriors. They have fish head helms, and it's like a turtle shield. I know those 2 things. Let me, how about Roinish, come on. Right now, 11:17, 8, 1820, yeah, so mostly probably on those early pages, and then referenced on 236, 240, 256, 263, 268, 280. Yeah, it sounds like it's more in 11:17, so yeah. Come on. Yeah, no, you should go listen to my Kurt Cobain. Sound just like him. This Nirvana Stan account messaged me and was like, "You're so attractive." I think it's a Nirvana Stan account, because that's when I started getting these messages. I swear to God, I'll show the messages right now on Insta. I don't want to do that. I'm not trying to put the person on blast, but I've never gotten messages like that. Like, somebody goes, like, I don't know why I did it. I thought it was funny. I just got out of the shower, so I was like fresh out of the shower. A person sends me a message that goes, "Without me?" And I was like, what the hell? Like, Instagram will notify me when I get a message, but it'll show up as a request if it's someone that I either don't follow or has either just recently followed me. So usually if it's someone that just follows me, I know this is stupid, but I usually wait like a week or so before I interact with that person. Or if they like one of my posts or something, a lot of times, just because I don't know why exactly. Maybe it's a pride thing, but also there's fucking bots on Instagram. Like, if you click on links, you'll get some phishing shit going on with Instagram links. So usually if I see if it's a person, if it's an actual account behind, like an actual person behind the account, they'll like some of my posts if they're an actual fan of mine. But this showed up after the Nirvana thing that went semi-viral, 7,000 views, but also 700 likes. That's a crazy amount of likes for just me bullshitting. I literally put no effort in. I'm like, my girl, don't lie to me. Like, that sounds awful, right? It sounds awful. But when I'm harmonizing with Kurt, it sounds good. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, no. The person just sends me messages sometimes when I show my face. Like, the other day, I was driving and this lady was walking, and I was at a stop sign. It was like a 3-way stop, and the lady was like coming up to where I was sitting at, and I just smiled and just, I guess, hesitated before driving off. But in that hesitation, she like turned around and went the other way. So I was like, what the fuck, man? So I was like, I'm gonna record this video on Instagram. But then I thought about it afterwards, and I was like, man, I should probably. Didn't realize, like, obviously, yes, she's a woman, so it's probably nervous for her if someone does follow her home. But also, I'm a weird looking dude. I thought about it after. I was like, wait. If I was like, Brad Pitt or something, and I smiled, she probably would be like, hey, Brad. But I'm like just this dude in a truck listening to Get This Slipknot. And then I kind of turned it down a little bit because I don't like when people, like when I roll up to someone, if my music's like abrupt like Slipknot and it's that loud. I don't know. It's the thing that happened as I got older. But and also I live in a small town, so most of the people that are walking on the streets live next to me, right? So it's kind of a courtesy thing. But anyway, I guess those things. I look, jarring, right? Well, I know I'm attractive. I have 2 children, right? My girlfriend loves me, right? But I look jarring. And then also I kind of cut the music down and it was Slipknot, and then I smiled, and this lady's walking her dog alone. Poor lady. Sorry, lady. I made a video on Instagram for it. Like I said in my story, I posted. I was like, "Hey, bitch, I wasn't gonna follow you home and rape you, bitch." Like that's literally what I said in the story. I wasn't saying I wasn't going to do that, but I'm saying like I just imagine someone like me pulls up. It's probably pretty jarring. Like if I just go, you know what I mean? But yeah. Anyway, these turtle armor things are pretty dope. I gotta find them midgets. Valyria's children. The arrival of the Andals. Come on. 10,000 ships. Here we go. This is on page 22. But not the actual description of the armor. I'm gonna have to scan for that. Voluntaris. Prince Garen. You idiot. Well, it actually, hey, check this. Here's a picture of it. This is Nymeria. She doesn't have the fish head helm, though, but she's got the turtle shield and the silver scale plate armor. That's the other depiction of it, right? That looks amazing. You know why it looks amazing? Because that's some elfin shit. That's some Eldar shit. That's some Lord of the Rings shit. And we don't really get that kind of armor in, anything that we've seen on screen, but also most of George's armor in the books is practical. So boiled leather, plate, shit that's easy to move in, but offers the most protection. That's also, I think in real medieval times, from my, documentaries that I've watched on YouTube, so however credible those are, they are pretty credible because they're originally, most of them come out for BBC. BigBlackCock.com, right? British Broadcasting Company, right? They're BBC documentaries. Those are legit. So, but I think to summarize, a lot of medieval warfare would be genuinely who had the best type of armor and how many people do you have with the best type of armor, because anybody mounted on a horse, you're going to fucking slaughter the average villager who's holding probably some sort of spear that's made out of like a hardened stick, right? A fire hardened stick, like what George talks about in his work. But yeah, no. But it would be really cool because we get chances to see, like I mentioned, the water wizards from the Brownish people, and then you also have their badass armor. But the plight of Nymeria, you could have. There was supposed to be a Nymeria 10,000 ship show. Combine that with the Valyria show. Set it up in some of the later seasons. So I guess season 2, because there's only going to be 4 seasons of House of the Dragon, so it actually sucks. Now that I'm thinking about it, I kind of hope if it comes out faster, because I don't know if I could torture myself for 10 years, 2 years in between seasons. Just kidding. 5 seasons, right? So the 5th season would only be 6 episodes. And then you can get things, for sure, if we have that 5th season, Hour of the Wolf, right? The continuation of that into potentially setting up the start of the Blackfire show, because you got to realize, right? The dude, Aegon III's brother, Viserys, is the grandfather. The grandfather of Bloodraven. It's not too far down the line to get to Bloodraven in the Blackfire Rebellions and the Dunk and Egg show, right? But you could set it up by having Corlys mention, the fact that all the dragons are dead. He'll mention to maybe Rhaenyra before she takes that fateful ride back to Dragonstone and gets eaten by Sunfire. Massive spoiler for House of the Dragon. But I've been dropping spoilers this whole stream, so who gives a shit? Corlys is like, there was rumors of Alyssa Farman who stole 3 dragon eggs during, he would be talking to Rhaenyra or maybe even Aegon 2. Aegon 2, he's on Aegon 2's council. He's partially is responsible for delivering the poison to Aegon. Either he does it himself or the fact that he lets out Maester Fuckwitz. I can't remember his name, but the dude that we saw in the Green Council, the black dude, Maester Orwell, right? He lets him out of, and then he gets the poison, and then Aegon II dies on his palanquin ride around King's Landing. He's like found with blood on his lips. So Corlys is almost beheaded by Cregan when he shows up in the Hour of the Wolf, right? But he could mention about something about dragon eggs and how they're taking account into all these dragons that are dead. It is mentioned that Aegon II should try to find another dragon, and he's like, dude, my leg broke. I'm not going to, how would I do that? I can't even walk. You know what I mean? He could pull a Breanne if he had some faith, right? What he would do is eventually, if his penis still worked, he could mate with someone of the Northern Firstman blood, potentially find someone who has genetic traits of wargs, because it seems like if someone's born a warg, it's random, but one way that a warg gets more powerful is by eating other wargs. Obviously, you want to have, like, the ability to change into animals, but you gotta eat the blood. You gotta eat something that's liquid. No, you gotta consume other warg flesh if you want to become more powerful. So, aside from eating, other wargs, he could just potentially just try to mate with as many northern bloodlines, women's as possible, right? And then have children who could potentially warg a dragon because they'd be half, what we all want to see Breanne do. And I mentioned this in my Bloodraven video. It would be cool if Breanne has to eat Bloodraven as one of the final things. Obviously, Breanne wouldn't willingly do it, so Leaf would probably have to hook it up for him. Bloodraven seems like he's going to die soon anyway. Like, when you hear some dude's got a fucking branch through his face and he's like 150 plus or however old, yeah, you're going to die soon, bro. You probably, the last little thing, he could give his brain to Breanne, and that'll really fire up Breanne with the ability to ride a dragon. And since he consumes a part of Bloodraven, or if Bloodraven's more of a forceful guy like Varamir Sixskins, and George sets it up an entire prequel chapter to at the beginning of Dance of Dragons. Like, he literally says, oh, Varamir's like, oh, this dude. So Varamir is really dope because he is he's super talented, right? So he's got shadow cats, and he mentions that cats, you don't really want to warg cats because he says they're malicious and they turn against you and they're vain. Here's the thing. Any animal who you force into their mind and control their body probably is going to not fuck with you. Cats are very rebellious. So I got offensive as a cat dude when he said that cats are vain. But he has some shadow cats, and they would have ripped his ass up if he lost control and they were around him. But luckily they weren't. Or for him, luckily, right? But the whole time he remembers is I think his name was Stick or something. The wildlings, they don't name their children until they're like 2. And I think that's actually a real thing in history, is they used to not name their kids until they got older, because the kids, it would be so often for, a high infant mortality rate. Seems kind of crazy. Why would you not name a child that you had, even if it unfortunately passes away? Why would you not name it? George did that with the wildlings. But yeah, so, the Varamir, potentially his name was Stick. But yeah, he's very talented, and one of the ways that he gets talented is I think he actually wargs into one of his female wolves in his pack one time while she's being mounted by the alpha, and he's not in the alpha, he's in the, so George likes to play. And then also I can't remember if he mentions it's taboo to consume the flesh of humans, but also to warg into the mind of another person, and he's never done it, right? So he's going to do it when this woman shows up, who's another wildling that is sort of stuck after the war that happens when Stannis shows up at the wall. So Varamir is very talented. He's got multiple, like I said, he's got some wolves. I think he's got a fucking bear, and then some cats. But he's called Sixskins because he can warg multiple animals at once, like they follow him around. But ultimately he's stuck and he's about to die from hypothermia. He's starving. He's like left alone and he's wounded. And then eventually when this woman comes back, he wargs into her. But I think she ends up forcing him out of her mind, right? And then he goes into the mind of his pack. So he's still kind of alive, actually. because he's in the mind of his pack, but he sees the woman that he tried to get into her body, right? He sees her turn into a white. But this all happens in a prequel chapter, so it kind of sets up all these different laws that there are for being a ward. In Bloodraven, probably broke all of them, because he doesn't just have a glass candle, right? He also is influencing. Clearly, he's influencing Bran's dreams. He probably influences Euron's dreams, and he probably, when he was alive, like, we know that he was actively using some sort of either it was a glamour or it was some sort of face-changing magic. So he's been to some places. He's been all over the world. He has a glass candle, like I said. He's able to stay alive for a very long, extended period of time. He's potentially one of the oldest, confirmed in canon anyway. I think George said in an interview or something that Melisandre was 400 years old or whatever, and then they made her that old on the TV show. But he's potentially one of the oldest people in Westeros. So he's done something to do that. He definitely broke all of the rules that are mentioned in that Vermeer chapter. I have my finger tucked on this World of Ice and Fire book, and it's at... Y'all want to see where it's at. That's the Casterly Rock by Ted Nasmith. Shout out Ted Nasmith. That's a badass Casterly. Is that Casterly Rock? Of course it is. What else would it be? The Walls of Jericho? Somebody got to look this up. The Walls of Jericho is when... Wait. No. There was this really famous event in history. It was a war where it was a crazy battle that I think happened outside the Walls of Jericho, right? Which is a real monument, right? That if the battle had went another way, almost the entire Western Hemisphere would be Muslim, whereas in place it's Christian and Catholic. Isn't that wild? That'd be crazy. It's like the fear in the 80s in America when everybody thought the Russians was going to come over here and nuke us or whatever, or we'd all be speaking Russian or Chinese, like Dwight on The Office, right? Speaking of which, y'all may not see it, but that's a Dundee right there. Right there, that's a fucking Dundee, dude, for hottest in The Office. My girlfriend got me that a couple years ago for Christmas. Y'all want to see it here? Let me see. I don't need to keep pulling stuff off and showing you like, hey, look what I have. But yeah, so it would be really cool to, I think all of that was on a tangent to what I was saying about how you could set up the Valyria show with Corlys mentioning something about how he went to a shy and seen, well, I guess I don't even remember that tangent. It's no point in trying to figure that out. But yeah, I think this is a good point to wrap this live stream up. Oh, no. What the fuck am I talking about? I gotta do my... I'm tripping. I gotta do my patron questions. I don't even know how I forgot that. Sorry, just give me 1 second. Gotta pull up those. I had them pulled up, but I had to pull up the chat. Let me pull it up on my phone. What am I doing? I can't believe I was about to end the live stream and not do my Patreon questions. I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. Very sorry. My Patreon, if you're unaware, Patreon is literally how I've been able to still make YouTube videos. Because, just look at my views. Look at the view count on some of my more recent videos. Some of them have like 500. For instance, the Bloodraven video, I made $1.23 from it, which is not a big deal because I just sat here and talked, right? But my patron makes shit like that possible, right? Because they give me money to make sure that if I do something like that, I'm still getting paid for my time of being a nerd. No, but yeah, Patreon's really dope in that aspect. But one of the benefits, if you join there for like $2, you get like exclusive content. I haven't made a video there in a while, but also I'm kind of trying to make the videos that I do upload there more meaningful, meaning like edited and longer. But I usually, when I was doing the live streams more consistently, but then when the views started dropping off and I thought it was like hurting my channel, and then also it's a lot to like stop, for anybody, stop their day for like, an hour and a half, 2 hours and talk about something. consistently, like how I was doing it. I was doing it like every week since House of the Dragon went off. I just stopped doing them. But when I do them, I always say, hey, if you have any topics or questions related to whatever, anything A Song of Ice and Fire, or I think one time I think I did, well, no, that was different because that was something for Patreon. I took a poll for what kind of stuff you want to see me react to. I did a bunch of stuff for the anime stuff, but I haven't put it on Patreon yet because I've seen posts on the Patreon, like a couple of Patreon forums where people are saying they edit them with no audio, or they'll basically just record their face while they're watching the anime on their phone or something, and then tell the person where to start it and watch it that way. It's kind of boring in my opinion, because I could do something different than that for YouTube. Like, I've seen people reacting to anime on YouTube for like 20 minutes. I don't know how they do it. Either the video isn't monetized, or they, I guess, make enough kinds of those videos where the algorithm doesn't affect them negatively in the sense that they don't get anything for their effort, right? But yeah, I don't know. Patreon is just, that's kind of what it is. So all of these questions that I'm about to talk about were submitted by all of the people over there. So thank you for your support, right? The first one is from AnaaaRodarte. Thank you for your support, Anna. She says, bro, of course, anything Aegon's conquest. What do you think was in the letter to Aegon the Conqueror that only he read? And do you think he truly loved Visenya? So, Anna is a bit of a, if I don't mean to call her out, but she's a bit of a stoner like myself, and you have actually asked that. That was the last time I did a live stream, I believe for Magor. You mentioned something about Aegon the Conqueror. I'm just kidding. I had to call you out a little bit if you're watching this right now, just because if you're watching, I think you would laugh. Sorry. But yeah, no. So what do I think was in the letter that he read that makes him want to cease the war with Dorne, right? So there's this character known as the Yellow Toad of Dorne. She's this old woman, right? And she kind of is a thorn in Aegon's side. We'll say that, right? Because Rhaenys, his one true love, I believe Aegon's one true love was Rhaenys. He probably loved Visenya too, but the history books make it seem like he only really truly loved Rhaenys, and he married Visenya for duty, which is kind of weird because he didn't even have to take on two wives. He only did that to cover up the fact that he was in love with Rhaenys, and he's like, I'm going to marry Rhaenys regardless, because it's actually not really that common for Valyrians to marry two wives. That's not really all that common. The only type of Valyrian that would have two wives is ones who didn't ride dragons. And the reason why they would have two wives is because they would try to make as many offspring as possible so they could potentially make some dragon riders, right? So Aegon, it just proves to me that, yeah, he loves Rhaenys, because guess what? I married Visenya, she's older, right? So that's why he would have to marry Visenya for duty, because he has to. She's the older one. So to cover up the fact that he, was in love with Rhaenys and wanted to marry her, and he didn't want to cause a conflict, I guess, he marries Rhaenys. It's like I said, it's not really that common unless you don't ride drag, but all three of them ride dragons. So he was like, yeah, well, I don't want to piss off. Really, what it probably did was it probably did piss off Visenya even more. I wonder if he had a conversation with Visenya and he was like, hey, look, I don't have to marry you. You want to we could have kind of like an open marriage thing or whatever. I wonder if he had that conversation with her. She would have done that. But anyways, like, I'm going to marry both of them. So anyway, Rhaenys is killed in Dorne. And we don't really know what happens, but she's probably tortured for years, right? And then there's this party that's sent to Aegon after he's sort of burned Dorne every day. Yeah, it's funny. The description is like him and Visenya lit every keep and castle, repetitively for years after Rhaenys is killed on her dragon Meraxes with the scorpion bolt to the eye. That's a really famous dragon death. As a matter of fact, it's the only dragon death because Daenerys' dragons are still alive. They didn't die. TV show in that aspect doesn't count. But yeah. So her death is famous. So I don't feel like I need to explain that too much. But anyway, after she dies, the letter. There's this letter that's delivered by the Yellow Toad of Dorne, who's a princess. I can't remember. Well, she's a queen. I can't remember her name for some reason, but I remember her title. She's the Yellow Toad of Dorne. She's this old lady who probably, is efficient with poison. She probably knows some stuff. She's been around for a while. She just has that reputation because it's Song of Ice and Fire. And older characters who are mysterious, male and female, usually have some sort of I guess haughty would be a good word, I guess. I don't know. I want to use that. A haughty reputation. You know what I mean? So after she dies, her son is in charge of Dorne, and then her son sends his daughter to go meet with. And if I say his daughter or this person or that, it's because I can't remember their name. It's a lot of names, but I remember what they do, their direct relation, and who they are. Right. So he sends his daughter as an envoy to go meet with Aegon, and Aegon is building up King's Landing at this time. He's like establishing the fact that, oh, well, Rhaenys is dead, but we have a son, Aenys, and then, Maegor wasn't born yet, I don't think, and he's given this letter. Whatever's in this letter makes him immediately go to Dragonstone, right? In the last live stream that I did where I was talking about answering this question, I did a really good rant about Aegon and what happened when he went there, but I think what was in that letter was basically, Rhaenys is still alive, was being poisoned by this yellow toad bitch, right? But as soon as the yellow toad lady died, my mother, right, I put Rhaenys out of her misery. Or I'm going to, if you agree to no longer war with Dorne. That's exactly what was in the message, in my opinion. That would be the only thing that would get Aegon to stop being a fiery butthole to Dorne, which is basically what it was. It's like, when you eat a lot of capsaicin, you have crazy shits, so that's kind of what he did to Dorne. He gave them the after meal shits for years. He was relentless for years. He was basically Dolph Lundgren on a dragon. But yeah. All right. Well, I think. Oh no, I keep forgetting. Yeah, that's the only. I'm only gonna do Anna's question. All of my other patrons, I'm not gonna answer your questions. I'm sorry. Even though I see Northwest Remember is here. Shout out Northwest Remember, my dude. I think when I did the shout outs earlier, I think maybe you just hadn't been typing at that moment. But shout out my buddy Northwest Remember. He says, "Can't wait for the next stream. Been too long. Appreciate it, man. I can't help but notice," this is from Northwest Remember, it says, "I can't help but notice our prequel is named House of the Dragon, not Dance of the Dragons. Mark, do you think it's possible House of the Dragon could do as long as 10 seasons? 1 through 4 on the Dance, 5 to 6 on the Conquest, season 7 and 8 on the Blackfire Rebellion, and finally season 9 through 10 on Robert's Rebellion. House of the Dragon could culminate on Dragonstone during a severe storm where Dany is born. This is Daenerys Stormborn. Thoughts? Yes, I think a lot of people like that. And I think Ryan is responsible for that idea because he said that Ryan Condal, the creator, he was like, I can't remember the exact quote, but I remember he kind of hinted at the idea that, like, well, if we're doing this show and it's successful, the Dance of the Dragon is not the only story we would tell. The show's called House of the Dragon. It's about the entirety of House Targaryen. I don't think he said that directly, but I think it was something along those lines. And I remember that hyped me the fuck up because I was like, dude, that means that even though House of the Dragon is only going to be 4 seasons, we're potentially still going to get all of the Targaryen. Like, the Targaryens are basically the elves. Like, well, no, it's not fair. I guess, no, that's pretty true because in Tolkien's world, the lore that he reveals about the humans are humans that are similar still to elves. Because in the beginning of Tolkien's world, the elves and the humans are actually pretty similar. But then over time, the elves grow stronger and humans grow weaker, right? Elves can live for a while. I think humans' lives in the lives of men in Tolkien's Legendarium have always been kind of short. But the reason why, obviously, Aragorn lives for a while is because he's descended from a line of part elf individuals. But it is interesting that in the beginning they were similar. I thought that was really cool. It was one of the coolest pieces. I'm like, oh, so you elves haven't always been that great, right? No, it just adds some balance to the world. Like, men aren't just dickholes that want to, chop fell trees and stuff. They're cool too. They had some powers too. They had some significance too. I think the hobbits are the ones that everybody wants to be the most, right? Just kidding. I want to be a fucking Balrog, baby. That's why I'm in hell, baby. I don't know I can't remember enough of the names of the Tolkien lore to be really deep into saying stuff like that. But, like, look, it is amazing. And you may notice, you could probably see that I don't have the Silmarillion behind me yet. Guess what? I haven't finished it yet. So I haven't put it up there. Audiobook, right? I haven't finished the audiobook yet, so I haven't put it up there. But yeah. Oh, shit. Let me answer your question. I keep getting distracted talking about myself. I can't help but notice our prequel is named House of the Dragon, not Dance. Yes. Oh, yeah, I did answer. Yes, 100%. I definitely think there could be several seasons on Blackfire Rebellions for sure. It could lead up to Daenerys being born, or it could even go past that and lead up to, like, if they want to push the Jon Snow show out even further, because Kit Harington's about to have a kid, right? Another baby, right? He's joining the Me Club. Kit's always doing stuff right after me, right? I've been with my redhead for 12 years, literally 2011 till now, right? April of 2011 until now. So that would be 10 years was in 2021, right? And the 11 years is 2022, and then 12 years is 2023, right? So yeah, 12 years. But anyway, I basically marry a redhead. Kit basically marries a redhead. I have a baby. Kit has a baby. I have another baby. Guess what? Kit's late on this one, but he has another one. I think he watched my videos when I was getting millions of views. Oh, shit. Speaking of children, hang on. Oh, come on. But yeah, so, I have a baby. Kit has a baby, right? It's getting a little weird, Kit. Cut it out, man, just because I can do a badass Jon Snow impression. No, I'm just kidding. Totally kidding. I probably would go insane. I know it sounds like I would be mad, but I put my head through the wall in excitement. That's how crazy I am. If I was driving, I would have to pull over. Throw my hazards on and pull it if I found out that, Kit Harington watched my videos. Sounds crazy, but no, he's cool as shit. Also, he's Jon fucking Snow, dude. Come on. But yeah, anyway. I was just saying, when I was getting 1 million views on YouTube, that's highly likely. I remember he watches this dude called Ozzyman Reviews, and this dude named Ozzyman Reviews. You may be wondering, reviews? That sounds funny. Yes, Sir Hunt's reviews. That reviews is from Ozzyman Reviews, right? I think that's his username. Might be Ozzyman Review, and then I'll sound like a jackass, but I'm pretty sure it's Ozzyman Reviews. But wait, he knows 2 people, I think. This was years ago. This was like 6 years ago at this point, but he knows this person named Val from Because Geek and this other person named Chris from Smokescreen, right? I think maybe he's done something with them. I think that's what it was. He did a video collab with him, right? Kit Harington says that he's watched Ozzyman Reviews videos. Ozzyman's done collabs with people that I've done collabs with. There's the connection right there. Kit's probably like, okay, let's see what... Well, it's Kit, so he's like, what's on the internet? It's nuts. What's going... My English accents are rusty as shit, but, he's like perusing. He's like, oh, Ozzy, ha ha ha, you're funny, man. Let's see. Oh, recommended channels. Oh, you recommend this Because Geek person, right? And then he clicks on one of hers, and he probably gets recommended one of mine, because back then in the algorithm, everybody was being suggested, right? So that's how that works. So potentially, maybe he is. I know the actor who plays Breanne, Speaking of which, there's Breanne right there. My boy Breanne with Tyrion on top. And that Stark painting right there is done by my mother-in-law. My girlfriend's mom has done watercolor for years. She's really good. She recently got into Game of Thrones a year ago, and she's really into Game of Thrones. She might even be watching right now. I don't know. Shout out if you are. Oh yeah, I forgot to put this up. This is my Daenerys. This Beware of the Dragon sign right here is from one of my patron members, Destiny Phillips 420. Y'all may get a question from her because she usually submits them during the live stream, even though I give all my patrons time. Just kidding. Johnny Rosado says, turn up the audio. I think I'm just talking low. The audio hasn't changed at all. But let me pull up the chat to see. If you're just joining, oh shit. Shout out Jesse Ponce. He says, for the super chat, thank you, man. He says, hey, man, or he or she or they, sorry. They said, hey, man, been watching for years and love your content. Keep doing you. Also, my profile pic is Damon when he took Rainier to the naughty bar. What? What? Let me see your profile picture. I can't see it because it's in the chat. It's small. Oh, Destiny, no question, just praise. Thank you. Is my audio low, or is that dude? Is it me just talking low? Yeah, I'm talking low, because I'm like sort of coming down from all my caffeine. If you've never had Italian coffee, like it's I say Italian coffee, but it's basically espresso. Like, so espresso, 1 cup of espresso is technically 1 ounce. I got this little coffee one, the little Italian coffee maker at first, and it could hold 3 espressos. But I was thinking, this bitch ass amount of coffee, this is like a half a cup. So what I would do is I would make a brewed coffee, and then I would pour. And this was literally 4 weeks ago. It's when I first made an Instagram story where I was like, I'm a drinking caffeine, right? So I started with that, which is, like I said, 3 cups of espresso. I didn't know that, right? So I would put brewed coffee on top of that, and then be like, this is the most delicious and tasty cup of coffee I've ever had. Swear to God, it's delicious. It has the essential oils from coffee into it, right? And the thing is like $20, right? So I couldn't believe it, right? So then after that, I started drinking. I would drink them in the morning and then in the daytime, and then I would have them after dinner. Damn, son of a... You gonna do this to me on live stream, nose? But yeah, so I would do them. I would do the coffee after I would have a meal, and then it became a little bit ridiculous, right? So, now I have a large one that makes 9 cups, and I drink 2 of those in the morning, and I'm productive as shit. I go to work, I come home, I take care of the children, I do all my stuff, I make videos on YouTube, all of these things. So it's awesome. But a lot of times, sometimes, more recently, when I make videos, when I do live stream, when I do my first live stream in a while, I'm coming down from those 2 times 9 cups of... I swear to God, you don't believe me? I'll go get it right now. I don't think I've shown the big one on my Instagram yet. But it's a big one. Y'all gonna make me go get it? Because I'll go get it. I'll post it in my Instagram stories after this live stream. How about that? Go follow me if you don't follow me. It's 9 cups. I drink 2 in the morning. That's 18 cups of espresso. And you're maybe thinking to yourself, 18 cups? Sir Hunts, you be pissing all day. No, a cup, remember, like I said, is 18 ounces. I'm sorry. It's 1 ounce, right? So I'm drinking 18 ounces of that espresso. You know what I'm saying? It's amazing, but it's also the same thing as when I was like younger, and for like a year and a half I was all about cocaine. So it's the same, but it's way better because it's just coffee. You know what I mean? So yeah, there's that. But yeah, so that's why I'm sort of coming down from all of my caffeine today. It's another reason why I just happen to go quiet. And also, another thing is my audio's so good now. I know I'm spanking my own butt, right? But my audio is so good now. Spanking my own butt? Honking my own horn is what I meant to say. Well, I guess it would be spanking my own butt. But yeah, it's so good now I don't have to be loud. So it may change the demeanor of my videos, but not when the show's on. When the show's on or when I'm talking about leaks, you'll see I'll be loud as shit. But, it's cool. It's all good. Ain't going be walking up afternoon. What? I do a line of coffee. That's a good one, bro. Let me make the chat bigger. Homie said I do a line of coffee. Who said that? I do a line of coffee. I did 18 lines of coffee. Oh yeah, I didn't finish. I still do the brewed coffee, so I don't know how much that is. It's not espresso, but it's still caffeine. And I make it. I don't have to. Like I remember when I was a kitchen manager at Chipotle for like from 2014 to 2016. Or no, it was like half of 2014 to like most of 2015. I had a lot of responsibility. I was drinking like monsters, but then I stopped and I was like, I can just drink soda at work. It's cheaper, and also for me, when I came down from a monster, it was terrible. But when I'm drinking soda all day, I'm like, this is fucking delicious. I'll just drink some more soda and then I'll go to sleep. You know what I mean? But the monster, it was dangerous for me. I already have a very hyperactive personality anyway, so and especially at work, it didn't work. Like, I would either be really happy people would love working with me, or I would either be a fucking dickhead and no one would like me. You know, like, it depends on who you were, right? You know what I mean? That's also why I'm not cut out to do shit like that, kitchen stuff. At least in that kind of vibe. I feel like I could, if I really, really, like, push myself, I could probably open my own food truck for sure. Me and my girlfriend talked about doing that for years. She likes to cook, and I love to cook. I've always loved to cook, so, but yeah, nah, what the fuck what am I talking about? Elijah, your mother's slow. Bet you wasn't expecting that one. Your mother sucks dick in hell. No, I'm just kidding. Made myself laugh. Alright, so getting back to the questions, AnaaaRodarte said, Aegon's conquest, what do I think was in the letter? Rhaenys is still alive, and we'll keep her alive and keep her poisoned, and you'll never find her, and we'll keep moving her around if you keep fucking with us. But he was like, alright, it's done. Kill her. They probably brought up proof, which would be a location of where she is at that time. And then Aegon flew to Dragonstone and looked at he's got a glass candle. He looked at his glass candle and was like, okay, Rhaenys for sure. And then the one from North must remember the prequels, different iterations of shows over time through House of the Dragon. Hell yes. Billy Bob Robertson. I haven't done that one yet. My buddy, my Scottish brethren. He says, hey, how are you? Hello. I like doing that. I don't know if anybody gets that, but my last couple of posts on Instagram, I keep hyping my Instagram up because I want to get another one of those bonus things from Instagram. That was cool. They gave me $100 for making silly videos. I've done that my whole life. I just never post them. Swear to God, I just not regular. Karaoke in the car. Like if someone cuts the audio out when I'm singing, you would hear how fucking my stepmom used to do that. I used to hate it. I'd be like, all right, well, I guess I'm not singing in the car with this bitch. But anyway, I'm pretty good at singing. Pretty dope. It's funny because I've done it before in a live stream with my buddy In Deep Geek, and this was like when we first started, and no one knew I could like mimic or do voices, but also do an impression of the actor who plays what's his name? Braun on the TV show sings in real life. So he sings the Dornishman's wife, and I did that on a live stream, and everybody was like, holy shit, you sound just like him. That was good. And I was like, yeah, y'all like that, don't y'all? But nah, I'd do it right now, but I don't want to. The Dornishman's wife would be that she sing, but I can't remember the songs or this words. You just go look at my Instagram. But anyway, I've been doing this thing that Charlie does on It's Always Sunny, where he's like, hi, is it like he does it for when they make a commercial for Fight Milk, and then also when he's doing the kitten mittens. I don't know. That's my version of it on my Instagram, but it's really funny. Wait, what? Not even sure if Christ can compel the demon. What? Cream and sugar. John Haymaker. Oh, you're asking me if I'm drinking straight espresso? No, bro. I'm definitely putting loads of sugar in there. The coffee tastes good, but I probably put like 2 tablespoons of coffee in my cup that has like the big one. Even though, like I said, it says 9 cups of espresso. Um, Somebody's feelings are hurt. I don't. I gotta pull up the chat on. Is this person joking? Oh yeah, you're causing problems, man. You're not, and it's funny because you're not even funny. Let me make sure this is who this is. Here, I'll put you in the timeout. It was a joke. You said you come into my stream and you say some dumb shit. I'm gonna comment back, dude. And then he's like, I wanna troll stuff because I can see my name on the screen. I'm gonna troll stuff. Like, that's silly. There's like, bro, all the people watching here are my patrons. So don't be a dickhead. Obviously, people that are subscribed to me on YouTube too, but most of the people watching are probably my patrons. They're my diehards, right? So nobody is gonna troll. And if you troll, you're gonna get singled out. I don't even know what your question is. I just saw the first comment I saw from you was trolling. I just put you in a timeout. How the fuck are you typing again? I gotta put you in another timeout? Oh, I did. It just doesn't show up as a timeout on my damn Streamlabs. Alright, well, let me do this real quick. Let me refresh the chat. Alright, let me go. Please go follow me on social media. Sir Hunts on Twitter. Sir_Hunts on Twitter. Also on Instagram. Sir_Hunts_reviews. Right? And then also on YouTube. Here, please. Sir Hunts Reviews. This is not really... wait. Did I do this one? Yes! Look at this. This is my new intermission. Look, I'm still here. I promise I haven't left yet. But this is my new intermission. This shit is dope. Look at this. It's more fire. You guys are like, oh my god, this dude is just full of fire. He's like a fucking Targaryen. They should hire him for the show. Look, I might be getting closer on that. I might be wearing down a couple of directors on the show. My friends, at least I call them my friends. I don't know. The twins, right? And then also, I might message all of the actors on the show when they post something funny on social media. I might send them a message and be like, hey, if you ever want to come on my podcast, please let me know. I might do that often, like too often to the point where it's harassment, and I'm going to stop. I have stopped for the most part, except for I just messaged the twins today because they posted a picture with Aegon. So I was like, let me crop myself in that picture and be like, I was there with the boys. Obviously, everybody knows it's a fake picture, but I feel like if I do that enough, and if I post it on social media enough, I can sort of manifest myself to be a little blip on the show somehow. If it's a background person or something, I don't know. Maybe potentially a writer for a new Valyria series. I'm full of ideas. I have studied. I have a degree in a song of ice and fire. I forged a chain for sure at the Citadel. I've got like 16 medals. You know what? I'm so good. I'm on Marwyn's level. I could probably be a rogue maester when it comes to ideas for TV shows, but also the depth of knowledge of the lore. I've got a vast body of work in these live streams. It's all off of my brain. There's no script. It's all from my brain. And I think I would say, to be fair to myself, 85% correct. Of course, I forget names. Of course, I forget the time frames when sometimes things happen, because there's 37 Aegons, and there's a significant amount of them that play a part, but they never become king. That alone could throw me off from when something happened. But I'm just saying 85%, that's pretty dope. I'm sucking my own nuts here. Just kidding. But yeah. So yeah, all right. Let's get back on track. Breanne says getting high tech. Hell yeah. Check this out. I got a did I do this one too? Oh wait, no, that's that same one. I thought I did another fire thing. I know I did that one. Maybe I'll change it and do my social media. Yeah, I could probably do some sort of fire thing behind my social media thing. But yeah, wait, where did the Oh, I guess that disappeared too. That's weird that won't refresh. I still got some stuff to figure out. But yeah, so oh yeah, Patreon. My boy Billy Bob Robertson, Scottish brothers. Wait, Scottish lad. He says, I just got in from fucking the local sheep. Just kidding, dude. Billy, I hope you're watching this and laughed at that, because if you didn't and you got offended, I'm sorry. Isn't it Welsh people? I'm sorry, Welsh people too. Damn, it's one of them. It's one of them. It's a common joke, and I'm trying to play that joke. But also, I don't think English people are as easily offended as I wouldn't even say the average American, because I have a pretty fucking good sense of humor. I'm not offended. I think at times like this, when I'm not being offensive at all to anybody, and then if somebody comes in here and says, "Hey, you suck dick," I'll probably be like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Fuck you." Okay, I'm not being offensive or in a joking mood, kind of. I'm just, we're all just chilling here, and it's only, like I said, not that many people. So if anybody comes in here trolling, it's fairly obvious, because there's an idiot writing "dick, dick, dick" in comments or whatever. It's a low effort thing. But yeah, so Billy, sorry. Hopefully you didn't actually have sex with the local sheep and that didn't offend you and you get the joke, because a lot of people say that. But I'm also 13% at the last time I checked. 16% Scottish. That means that my mother, because I get more DNA from her because she had me, right? That's how that works. I got that 16% from her. Obviously, my dad's black, right? But that also means that she had 30+%, which means that one of her parents over half Irish or over half Scottish, which also means my grandparent on her side, who I never met. I think they died either before I was born or like when I was really little, right? They were pretty much Scottish, so I could say shit like that, right? That's all I'm getting at, right? But anyway, my buddy, Billy Bob, we often talk on Discord. I have a Discord. Billy, he says, "Hi, how are you, Mark?" And he's really polite, too, so I'm saying he's fucking cheap and stuff, and, like, he's nice as shit. I'd like to know your thoughts on the job. I'd like to know your thoughts on the Jon Snow show coming out. What do you think the plot what do you think the plot will follow, and what conflict do you foresee happening? Perfect question. So perfect that you were like 4 steps ahead of me, and I think it's like, it might actually be 4 a.m. over there right now, so I don't know if you're watching this, man, but if you're watching after the fact, hopefully that summation earlier answered it, but I feel like the plot could be one of 2 things, right? Jon Snow's the new Night King. That might have been a really corny breakdown, but I like that. Like, you start off 2 episodes. The crazy rumors. Jon Snow's Tormund's head has been... It's got to be Tormund, because that's someone who everybody expects to see, or Ghost, but you wouldn't do that. Nobody wants to kill Ghost. Ghost is the only person that's still alive that hasn't been affected by Jon. He was able to run away. In the books, Ghost is literally an avatar of the old gods, so he might actually be immortal. So if Jon wargs into Ghost and has to stand there, Jon may be immortal, right? Immortal in the sense that he'll warg out if that body were to die, and he'd go into a tree. If he, most people who follow northern gods go into trees anyway when they die. As in, sorry, let me finish that thought. I thought this the other day. And Billy, I'm kind of answering that question right now. I think the plot would be either Jon Snow's the Night King, and they break it down like how I said it in the live stream, where it's a couple of, or at the beginning of this live stream, where it's a couple of episodes of people finding out rumors, and then they travel to go see, and Jon Snow's the Night King. Or him taking his son down south because he has no choice but Jon will be like a regent. So it'll sort of be like just something nobody expected, but ultimately Jon's sitting the Iron Throne ruling in place of his son, but he brings his son with him because he wants to, although I guess if Jon was smart, he would keep his son north of the wall. But then maybe his son follows him down south, and then he gets lost or kidnapped, and Jon has to leave the Iron Throne and go and find his son, and this is the adventures of Johnny Boy and his son. That would be an amazing show. Sounds corny, but it would be amazing. You know why I know it would be amazing? Because Game of Thrones is the greatest show of all time. And Kit Harington isn't going to... Pretty sure he knows... Well, he's watching my videos, so he knows all the mistakes that they made. He didn't make any. He had nothing to do with it. He's the fucking Kit Harington. Nobody's ever said Kit Harington is a shitty Jon Snow. Nobody's ever said that. People have always said Jon Snow is their favorite character. You know what I mean? Daenerys is their favorite character. Emilia Clarke. Nobody's ever said Emilia Clarke is a shitty Daenerys. You know what I mean? To be fair, there probably have been people that have said both of those things, but I just don't. I tune that out because it's nonsense. Not only do I think they're great, but also people who I think are fucking amazing, they think they're fucking amazing. So there's that. Ebert and Robert. No, I'm just kidding. I don't even. I don't have any ideas for what the Jon Snow show, the plot of it could be other than that. Him taking his son down south or him being the Night King. And then the second part to your question, thank you for submitting that, Billy. He says, also, if they did something like Robert's Rebellion or Blackfire Rebellion, who would your fan cast for the main characters be in these storylines? All right, so the Robert's Rebellion I kind of talked about, but I didn't talk about casting. So a young Rob. That's the thing. These characters in the books, Ned is like 36 or something. He's not 45 like in the TV show. He's considerably younger because just 15 years before that he was coming of age. He was going to tourneys with his best friend Robert and his sister and his other brother Benjen to go meet the prince Rhaegar. You know what I mean? He's a kid. Should be a 15-year-old in canon. So, a little bit older than Jon, maybe like 19. So, if they go with that age range, I would pick Harry Potter. No, I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of like English films. Usually when I'm finding someone that I think, like if I mention a casting that I think for a new character that's coming up, like I thought, the rumors that Elizabeth Olsen was going to be playing Alice Rivers was a little bit ridiculous, so I made a video on that, and I offered some people that I thought were pretty good, and what I did was literally go to Google and type in English actresses ages 20 to 35 recent films, right? So that'll give me a list of films, and I just click on one of those movies, and then I go watch a clip of it on YouTube, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is decent. They could play this character who I know way more about. This actor who is decent in this scene could play. That's what I do. And after I do that, I don't even remember the person's name because it's that vague of an experience of like, I don't know who the hell this is. I'm just clicking on a random movie they were in on YouTube, right? So, I don't know. Robert Baratheon, Mark Addy. I'm gonna go out on a limb, and the guy from what is it? What is that show called? King of Queens, not King of Queens, but a show just like that. Wasn't Mark Addy on King of Queens? I don't know, but he was on a show that I watched all the time. I can't remember the name of, but I could not believe that he was on Game of Thrones. The last fucking role I would expect, but I would pick this guy. I would pick him to play Robert Baratheon. I know you're like, what? Why would you? It's because I feel like he could do a great job playing. That would be a dream thing. Like if they could somehow de-age him, but it would still be him, right? And then had just had someone lame like Henry Cavill come in and do all the stunts or something. Like don't show Henry Cavill's face over his body. Like you put Mark Addy's face, but younger, like de-aged, and then it's actually Superman, right? It's actually Henry Cavill, right? But he just doesn't get any credit or anything. And then Robert's Warhammer, smash Rhaegar, the trident, rubies everywhere. Like then you got your Robert, But yeah, I'll give you one more, Billy. You Scottish sheep. I'm just kidding, dude. He's got a really good sense of humor. I know he probably thinks this is funny. Like I said, I can make these jokes too because I'm. My grandmother on my mother's side is probably mostly Scottish. I'm not even joking. Probably is. There's a good chance that they're their parents. So this would be my great grandparent, full Scottish, full like from Scotland, right? From Northern England. Just kidding. Another joke I could make because it is Northern England. I don't think that's true, and I don't know enough. I know a little bit of English history, right? I know at one point the English did not like the Scottish, right? But something happened where, obviously time, right? Something happened where the English monarchy established a castle in Scotland. Has all the castles, the best castles, right? They have the dopest castles. All of England has the nicest landscape. Like the twins, Elliot Tittenser posted. He plays Sir Eric Cargill and his brother Luke. He plays Sir Eric Cargill on the show. Two different characters, but they're actual twins. But the Lannister dude, he's not a twin. That's one guy, right? But they follow me. I follow them on Instagram. I talk about them all the time. They're dope as shit, right? They were chilling with Aegon, or they met up with him. I don't know if they were hanging out, but they're probably friends. But rehearsals. Remember, Matt Smith said rehearsals was starting soon. But anyway, that landscape behind them looked fucking dope. But anyway, Scotland is where all the castles are. So at some point, the English monarchy established a castle in Scotland. So I guess the English people and the Scottish people like each other. Maybe not a lot. I know there's parts of Ireland that hate the English, but it's very inflammatory. They don't hate each other a lot, but they used to. There's years of history of the Irish people being tormented by raids of the English. They would come through and they would steal stuff. They would steal it's terrible. They would steal things. It's interesting. When I first did Ancestry, I found out I was 42% black and 58% white, right? Obviously, that's jarring to me because I'm like, well, I look like my dad. And I don't look anything like my mom, right? But then it's obviously changed, and I think now it's 44 and 56 or something like that. 56% white. So basically, my mom's it's split up between Northwestern European and randomly I'm 1% Scandinavian or something, Norway. But my mom is probably 5% Norway or something. I just got a little bit of the DNA. But anyway, when we first found that out, it said that she was literally, she had to have been half Irish because I was 35%, not 35%, sorry, 23% Irish. And then the rest of my white side was all English. So with Ancestry, they do English. Most of England is Northwestern European DNA is what they call that. So that's shared with England, Spain, and the western half of Europe. So it's actually not just England. It's also, for some reason, Ancestry says that those people have enough of the same genetic sequence to be lumped together to say, yeah, you guys are pretty much all the same. You might look different, but you're all pretty much the same, right? So that's literally, right? And this is Ancestry. It's not me. Ancestry says that Spain and part of the Iberian Peninsula, not a lot of it. It looks like a small part of maybe northern Morocco. I don't know, northern Morocco perhaps, or I don't know, most of that area, right? And then it was also Irish. So I was like, oh, I'm Irish. I got to look up a lot of my history. I'm Irish. I didn't chase rainbows and find pot of gold, but I know that I could be a proper Irish lad if I went to Ireland and I studied in Dublin or something. I knew I could do it, right? So, and then Ancestry's changed 6 times since then, and now I'm no Irish. I'm 4% or something, and it's less than that. It's probably 2% now. It goes down every day, right? I'm no longer Irish. Actually, not even a joke. The live stream that I did, the last live stream I did with Indie Geek, it was a charity one for Christmas, right? He has some Irish lads on. Called the Melonheads. They do Tolkien stuff. Actually, that podcast is what made me be like, yeah, I'm going to start reading Tolkien now, because they were talking about it, and it sounded really cool, right? I've obviously seen Lord of the Rings beforehand, and I've made Lord of the Rings videos on YouTube, but I've never read the books until now, right? But anyway, they were Irish, and I forget the whole point of that, but I was like, oh yeah, I told them that I was 4% Irish, and it really, the last time I checked Ancestry, it actually has gone down since. It's weird to dude, you're not Irish at all. It's cool. Just don't. I don't care, right? But yeah, yeah, all of that for prequels. Talking about the prequels. Oh yeah. My Scottish friend. Also, if they did Blackfire Rebellions or Roberts. So okay, we'll do Blackfire Rebellions. Dunk and Egg. I don't think I mentioned who I would cast as Dunk. I don't think, but he would have to be somebody who's strong. I'd be more worried about personal opinion, more worried about his acting ability over height. Height is important too. He's got to tower over Egg for the majority of the series, which won't be hard, right? But ultimately, he's got to tower over most people. So, this is Gandalf level effects in Lord of the Rings of how tall he was over the hobbits. Whereas, no, they totally didn't just get little people and replace them with the actual actors who played the hobbits. And it's so obvious to tell that it kind of takes you out of the movie for a split second, but the other graphics are so good. No, that totally is not the case. Sort of is. But yeah, like, they would have to sort of look like that. Like, if you want to go full on, this is how tall. Because Dunk is tall as shit, man. There's not that many people that are tall as this dude. Dunk is probably, this is fantasy, so Dunk is probably part giant. He's probably got a large amount of northern blood in him. The giants technically were at one point all over Westeros, but they retreated north, just like the Children of the Forest. That's why they're involved in the northern plot line. So I would assume that Dunk, being 100 years before the events of the main story, is probably largely northern, and he's got you could say, Brienne of Tarth, she's really tall, yes, but she's also related to Dunk, so she's probably got some northern. And then also you have literally Willis, right? Hodor, he's definitely Dunk's probably grandson. Like Dunk, we might find out that Tansel Too Tall is Old Nan. Tansel might be an what do you call it when you mix up a name because it's got similar letters? It might be, oh shit, my buddy. North must remember finally called a live stream. Keep up the good. Nice. I've seen you in the chat. Were you watching earlier when I did your question, my boy? Thank you for that super chat. Did I say thank you to Jesse? Jesse, hey man, been watching for years. Thank you for the super chat, Jesse and the North must remember. You guys rock. Jesse said, hey, just in case if I didn't give him a shout, I said, hey, been watching for years and love your content. Keep doing you. Also, my profile pic is, oh yes, I remember that because the profile pic went Damon to the naughty. But I remember saying I couldn't see the profile pic because it was smaller. Let's see. Oh yeah, Robert's Rebellion. To who would I don't know. It's the same thing. I look up actors if I'm thinking of putting them in some, because I don't watch a lot of films these days. I just literally throw my books on repeat. I restarted Dune a couple weeks ago after I finished, the Lord of the Rings books, and I'm on a Dune reread, but I'm also doing, Dance of Dragons. This will be my 7th time reading Dance of Dragons, and then I'm probably gonna finish Silmarillion. So it's actually fun because you get to make connection. I could probably make 100 videos on the similarities of the two, but you know how annoying it would be to be like, oh yeah, this author did this because of this author. No, it would just be fun to act like they were all set in one maybe that will be, if I ever do actually write a children's book like I want to, maybe it'll be influenced heavily by Dune, Lord of the Rings, and it would be a crazy fucking concept. You'd be like, how is this a kid's book? And it's a short story. What is this? It would be the craziest thing, but then it would just sweep the internet in a wildfire, and everybody would be like, Sir Hans, you're so smart. Sorry we ever doubted how dumb you were, you dumb idiot, dumb. But yeah, that would happen. Totally. Holy shit. This is the Pebbles83 with a massive super chat. Thank you. No message at all. Thank you for that, Pebbles. Wow, that's crazy. Thank you. No message. Thank you. I'm speechless. The way that it pops up like that is on Twitch. That's what the Twitch people do that. When you're streaming on Twitch and when you get a new subscriber and follower and stuff, the Twitch logo pops up. I need to make one of these things when somebody does a super chat, so it could be so that way for me it would look cool, right? But then it'll timestamp so that I could give them a shout out in the very next video I make. Because that was massive. Pebbles is a patron of mine. Thank you very much for that. And actually, I'm literally about to answer your question as soon as I don't know, it's fucking nuts timing. But I'm about to answer your question next, right after I give my dunk casting for dunk. I don't know who I would pick. Probably, I mean, as somebody who's really tall, isn't the dude who, this is just off the top of my head, the dude who plays Chewbacca, the new actor, not the actor who played him in the prequels and the original. Unfortunately, I think he passed away, but I think the reason why he stopped playing him was because he could no longer walk. But the new guy is like 7 feet tall. That dude, probably, that would be a decent, I don't even know his name. I guess I could look him up. Let me look him up real quick. Wow, thank you for that, Pebbles. That's amazing. Thank you. Thank you for everybody that's giving a super chat tonight. Y'all are fucking killing it tonight. Jeez. Let's see, actor who plays Chewbacca. New movies. I should just do actor who plays new Chewbacca. That dude, what's his name? Jonas Viljami Swatomo. There is no way that's the fucking Norwegian dude that I'm thinking of. Is that really his name? Like the Jonas Brothers, but with an extra O. And then like Viljami Suotomo. That Suotomo, that's almost a Japanese last name. That is nuts. Is this the guy? Let me click on him. There's no fucking way. Yeah, that's crazy, dude. You know, he actually looks like this dude that was at the convention. This dude for the Con of Thrones. I talk about that convention all the time. It's literally the only convention I've ever been to, but I went to it 3 times. 2.5. To be fair, 2.5. I dipped out before the second day of the third one. But anyway, there was this dude who traveled all the way from Norway. And I remember I only had like 1 or 2 interactions with him, but I remember he was friends with my YouTube page on Facebook. And he was like, because I used to have it set as Amsterdam, because, you know, haha 420. I was like, back then that was like one of the, well, no, weed was legal here, like, you know, in the States, but it was Amsterdam. Amsterdam's known for, like, you know, classic 90s like stuff. Like, you go to Amsterdam to get super baked in the coffee shops, yeah. But I had that listed as my place, my location for my Facebook page on YouTube. And I remember meeting this dude at the convention, and he's like, "Wait, so you're not actually from Amsterdam?" And I was like, "Nah." It was funny. I was like, "Are you from Amsterdam?" He's like, "Yeah, I came there for this convention because of Game of Thrones." And he was like, he went there to meet the actors that were there for the show, which was fucking dope because there was a party where I got to meet some of the actors for the show. Some of the actors. I got to meet Liza Tully, hanging out with Liza. That was pretty cool. And then I also got to interview young Hodor and Shay at the different Con of Thrones is dope. There's another one I think this year. I'm not gonna be able to go, unfortunately, but it is fucking dope. Maybe I can if my children grow 4 years by August, I think is when it is, and then I'll take them with me. Definitely not taking them with me to this one, and obviously I'm not going because of that. So, but yeah, the Con of Thrones is dope. I'll definitely promote the shit out of it. But they don't follow me on Instagram. To be fair, they don't follow me on Twitter either. I think they did, but then they. No, I don't think they ever have. So, yeah. But, yeah, I talk about their shit all the time. But, anyway, not to sound salty. I don't mean to sound salty. Con of Thrones is the shit. Although they did kind of dick me by not giving me no interview. Just kidding. All right. So, yeah, I would cast that dude. Jonas Viljami Swatomo. Jonas Verswam. I wish there was a little audio button so I could hear how to say this. Finnish pronunciation. Here we go. Jonas Swatomo. But how do you say the middle name? Viljami? Viljami. I'm 1% Norwegian, baby. So, should say that. You know, I got into, and this is actually embarrassing. Because I should know, a bit more. To be fair, though, there's not as much readily available African history as there is English history, right? African history, it's there, but there's, like, with English history, there'll be, like, an artifact for something, right? And then you'll be like, okay, that's traced back to this. But with African history, the continent just for thousands of years, right, has been ravaged. Like, humanity came from Africa, so there's always been some sort of war. So the history that was there for people that have been there for a long time is destroyed. But there was this interesting thing that I looked up. It's this. I actually bought a T-shirt for it, right? So there's this thunder god, right, called Mafirafuni Mashango. That's like a saying. Shango is the actual name of the thunder god, but it's fascinating the amount of tours, the amount of stories and stuff that go along with it. But that was one of the things that I looked up for some of my. I don't know. I just was getting personal. I was just saying it because I'm talking about all my English connections and stuff. But yeah, no, I don't know. That dude, Jonas Viljami, that's a crazy name. That's who I would cast as Dunk. And honestly, I mean, yeah, he played Chewbacca, so he's in like a fursuit the whole time. But to be fair, let's look at his wiki page and see if he's known for some other stuff. Can you all see this? I don't think y'all can see this. Let me pull up a screen share. Wait, what the hell? Love you. Mitchell McCormick says, "Love you, sir. It's got to go to sleep." Well, good night, you little bitch. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, man. Sleep tight. I'm just kidding. No, actually, yeah, sleep tight, but don't. You're not a little bitch. Properties. Oh, what is this? What is this? What are we doing? There we go. Wiki page. And that's cool because it still shows the chat above it. Man, this Streamlabs is awesome. Look, I just want to do this again. Look at that. Go, please go follow me on social media, Sir_Hunts on Twitter, on Instagram, Sir_Hunts_reviews, and on YouTube. Here on YouTube, it's just Sir Hunts reviews. Obviously, sorry. But yeah. Go do that, please. And we're back. That's awesome. It would be so choppy when I would try to do stuff like that on OBS. This is awesome because it's $19. And you know, I was, for the whole time I was streaming for House of the Dragon after the show, and then also when I would do like the weekly Q&A stuff, I was always using this one thing. It was StreamYard, right? This is Streamlabs that I'm using now. You couldn't do shit with StreamYard, and it was $20 just for 720p, which is absurd. The lowest level was $25 plus tax, almost $30, to stream in 720p, and you could show like what I did, which was my badge, the thing that said Sir Hunts at the corner. This is nuts. There's been a fire burning. If there was a fire burning for that long behind me in real life, the whole house would be gone, right? That's a terrible thought to even think. I don't even know why. Sir Hunt, sometimes your sense of humor is a little bit too dark. I was just beginning to laugh. That's a deep Michael Scott reference from The Office. Wait, is it Michael? Michael shuts down Dwight. Dwight is pretending to be a robot because they want to make The Office appear more upscale than it actually is. So Dwight thinks that the person coming to sort of, this is after Kathy Bates' company buys out The Office, right? So they think that the auditor would believe that Dwight is a real-life robot, I guess. And Dwight's like walking around. Oh my God, this shit is fucking hilarious. It's so funny. And then he shuts him off. Or maybe I could be thinking wrong. And it's ridiculous because I literally went to bed next to my girlfriend every night for 10 years. My son's 2, so 11 years watching The Office. We don't watch The Office no more, but that's Netflix's fault. It's not ours. It's not much. We have The Office on DVD, but who the fuck wants to plug in a DVD player, right? Like, I watch it through this website on my phone when I eat if I'm not watching Pawn Stars. But that, I was just beginning to laugh. That might actually be Michael Scott. I can't remember. Did y'all know, technically a gun didn't get pulled on me earlier, but someone showed me their gun. I'm not even making this up. I didn't even tell my girlfriend this. I was at a gas station right by my house, and I pull up to a pump, and this fucking idiot he turned right into the gas station. I'm already in the gas station. I had to circle around because all the pumps are full. Cuts in front of me, and I, just react normally. He was like, all right, yeah, go through. And then pulls up to the empty pumps, but then doesn't pull up to the next one so I can pull him behind him. And I'm in a vehicle that's kind of hard to maneuver, right? And this dude literally gets out of the car and he's like, what did you say? He's short, so I didn't see him at first. His shirt was big, so it was covering his gun. I guess he didn't realize that, right? But then he walks up closer to me. He's like, what did you say? And I was like, I'm trying to get some gas. And then he literally goes, what did you say? Not realizing the whole time that his gun's not exposed to me, right? I'm assuming he thinks it is because, well, let me finish. I honk my horn. I was like, you hear that, right? You hear that? Can you pull up your car, right? I'm thinking this guy's not, he's unassuming of me because I'm listening to Slipknots, right? He's like, this guy's a fucking metalhead. He doesn't know how to fight, right? I didn't realize he was trying to show me that he had a gun, a 9mm, right? Pistol, right? In the way that he's carrying it, probably doesn't have a concealed permit. He can carry the pistol, but he can't carry it concealed because it would be in your holster. It wouldn't be carried like that. Someone who's trying to, because if you pull it, that's the charge. You can't pull your gun on someone. There's an actual charge, but you can, for instance, and I've done this before as a teenager, right? After being robbed, carry a gun with me illegally and just place it on a table because pulling a gun on someone and pointing at them is a charge. Right? So that's kind of what this dude was doing, but I didn't realize it. Literally, what he ends up doing is raising his arms like this and tucking his, down like this so I could see that he had his, right there. And I was like, dude, I'm trying to just get some gas. Like, at that point, I couldn't believe it. So I was in a state of shock, and I'm like, I'm just trying to get some gas. Are you serious? And he's like, yeah. I was like, all right. So then I pulled around, and then me not being a bitch, I literally pulled back behind the gas station and waited for this dude to pull off. Because I was like, there's no way this dude was serious. So he pulls off, and then, like, it's a small intersection. So I pull up behind him, and I'm like, he doesn't know if I have one, which I don't. My shit is at the house, right? So I'm thinking he doesn't know if I have one. So I get behind him, and then I just lay on my horn. I literally just lay on my horn for the entire time that we're sitting at the light, and then I wait to see which way he's going to turn, and then I turn the opposite way. But I just laid on my horn because I was like, this guy's not going to get out because he doesn't know if I have a gun, right? And he knows that if he gets out and pulls the gun, that's the illegal. I just did that, right? But that happened earlier. That was nuts. Obviously, my children were not in the car, but it was crazy that I was trying to get gas. It's a convenience thing. Someone pulls up behind you and you don't want to pull forward. Like, that makes no sense. And scene. That whole thing was a lie. No, I'm just kidding. That actually did happen. But yeah, it was crazy. I can't believe someone would show me. He didn't pull a gun. And I started out by saying that was being dramatic. He showed me his gun because I was trying to get behind him at a pump. Not get behind him. I let him in front of me. So I'm like, okay, you pulled in from the road and it's heavy traffic. So I was like, for sure, that's why this guy's pulling in abruptly like that. But then refuse to pull forward. Like, I just sat behind him. I didn't honk the horn yet until he was at my car asking me, what did you say? Like 5 times, not physically doing anything aside from standing there. And I'm like, yo, I would fuck this dude up, right? But he's thinking the whole time, I'm not realizing it. He's thinking he's showing me his gun, but he wasn't, right? But anyway, I'm actually about to answer Pebbles83 question. By the way, thank you for that massive super chat. And also, I pulled up. Oh yeah, Junis. I wanted to see what other films he was in. So just Star Wars. Yeah, he probably would have to do a bunch of like acting classes or like plays and stuff to get, in my opinion, to the level of somebody that would pull off Dunk the Talk. But if I had to be put on the spot, I would say that guy because of height. It's a role that no one really, the average fan of like TV shows wouldn't necessarily have a massive expectation of what to expect because the Dunk and Egg series is a novella. And as much as the Song of Ice and Fire fandom loves it, the average show watcher fan probably doesn't know all too much about it. So someone like Junis, if the weight of the show was split up between him and a really good actor who played Egg or something, then he would learn as the series went. Like, obviously, actors on Game of Thrones got better as the series went. Specifically, Sansa and Arya, but that's not fair because they were literally, they were young kids. They were little girls. So, of course, they're going to progress with time. But some of the other actors, like the older ones, like I remember the earlier scenes with Tyrion and Cersei The dialogue was awesome, so the scenes were really good. But I think Lena Headey said that Peter was her acting partner because they had the most scenes together. You can see the difference in the trial scene in season 4 from the awkward dinners that they have, like when Tyrion comes in all boastful in season 2, and he's like, "Father sent me here to be Hand of the King." The dialogue is good, but not as good as like Tyrion's trial. And then later, even though the writing wasn't the best, the dialogue was still decent because Lena Headey and Peter are so good, right? I think season 7, when Peter tries to negotiate on behalf of Daenerys in the Dragon Pit, right? Doesn't he get in a lone scene with Cersei, and it's their first scene together since he left from killing their dad, so it's nuts. None of that shit happened in the books. Tyrion's hasn't even met Daenerys yet, but he's about to. He's seen her. He's at least seen her. And when he does see her, he's like, wow, she's a 13-year-old little girl. So that's how old she is. It's crazy. I remember when I read the books, I was like, because everybody goes, yeah, she's a little girl in the books, but no, yeah, she really is. But yeah. All right. So thank you for that super chat. Sorry, I'm just scanning the question real quick. Pebbles83, another one of my patrons, and also she just gave me the massive super chat. Thank you very much. She says, "Good morrow, Sir Hunts. Can we talk about the surviving dragons of the dance? Silverwing, Sheepstealer, the Cannibal, and I think Morning is in there too. Anyway, my questions are, do you think these dragons were able to leave clutches of eggs all over Westeros and possibly Essos, etc., if they flew that far? How long do you think they all survived after the dance, and do you think young Griff might come across one of the ancestors' clutches and claim them?" I think I might need glasses. It's, to be honest, like, I have this massive light. There's like a umbrella light. There's an umbrella over it, but there's this massive 6-inch light that's been blinding me in my face. But I'm actually having to pull the phone further away to focus. This is crazy. Sorry, this is an awesome question. And then also, do you think young Griff might come across one of the ancestor clutches and claim them for when he arrives back to King's Landing to claim the throne? It would be awesome if those clutches of eggs, if those clutches of eggs from those dragons are still around somewhere waiting to be hatched. Okay, so let me answer the last part first, because that's really exciting to me. I never thought about that aspect of egg claiming. I think I probably have, but I haven't given it a lot of thought. To if he did, claim one of Daenerys' dragons for sure, but claiming a clutch of dragons is sort of a failsafe, because you got to realize Daenerys has to navigate not just herself on her dragon from a world away, unless George wants to write it that way, which I would love, but she has to take an entire civilization of multiple different people. John led wildlings south of the wall. Crazy. Honestly, not that big of a deal, because the wildlings are ultimately first men, and that's what kind of convinces John to allow them south, is that they have the same gods as him. He's like, these people aren't that different. They got the same gods as me, queer as they are. We worship the trees. But that's why he lets them down south, right? He sees himself in these people. But Daenerys has Dothraki, Unsullied. She's got potentially Victarion, right? So Victarion is from Westeros, but she's coming with a massive amount. So what I'm getting at is she may die, and then her dragons would then be wild, and it would be like some crazy dragon adventure for someone to go claim them. So having a clutch of eggs is a backup, because then someone could potentially hatch them. But how fast would the dragon grow? You would think that, or at least for me, at Summerhall, when Egg from Duncan Egg is trying to rehatch these eggs, you would think that there's more to it, because hatching them is kind of a simple thing, right? You put one in the crib. If we're told that as a reader, Egg could find that out as someone who's actively paying money to, he paid money to people to go and try to find dragon eggs, and they were able to find 12 of them, right? So maybe these, to answer one of your other questions, is did some of those wild dragons leave them around? Yes, they did, I think, and Egg bought those, accumulated them to the tragedy at Summerhall, which resulted in the birth of Rhaegar, who ultimately, Daenerys brought back dragons, but because of Rhaegar's actions, that was possible. If Daenerys wasn't forced to go over to Essos because her brother was a dumbass and wanted to kidnap someone he wasn't, supposed to. She wouldn't have hatched dragons. So Rhaegar's direct actions, and he was born at the tragedy of Summerhall. So Aegon probably bought some of those dragons, the dragon eggs. He didn't pay for them, but he paid people to go look for them, and they were probably left from the Targaryen dragons that they brought over from Valyria, right? So, not Balerion, but Vhagar and Rhaenys' dragon, Meraxes, and then all of the dragons in House of the Dragon, and potentially the wild dragons, unless you think Cannibal was there before the Targaryens, which in my opinion is silly, because a dragon that large would for surely have been claimed by a Targaryen, at least attempted to, not just during the culling of the dragon seeds. It would have happened at some point. Somebody would have tried to kill it if it was that big. It would be a problem. This thing is small enough to get into the hatcheries at Dragonstone and eat dragon eggs. It's no debate, because you'll get people who do ChatGPT that'll cover a million different types of content, and they'll randomly make a video on House of the Dragon, and it'll get 1 million views, and then I'll get questions from people like, hey, do you think Cannibal was such and such? But that's not fair, though, because people who have read the books have thought that Cannibal could potentially, because George literally says, hey, the small folk think that Cannibal, but no, it's not. 2 reasons. 1, because it would be large, and then it would become a problem, right? And then also, 2, it's small enough to sneak into the hatcheries at Dragonstone and eat the eggs. Those eggs aren't just sitting out. Those eggs are deep within the caves where the dragons lay them. So, Daemon had to get all ookie-gookie to go get the eggs. Cannibal is small enough to get into there. And I think, hopefully, if I can clip this and make this a short, this moment right here. Here, let me try to do this. I'm going to put myself in the center and make this for the short. Oh, well, not do that. Oh, shit. What is this? Why is my table creaking? What is this? I don't know enough about this to do it. This new software is tricky, but I'll do this. Oh, wait, no, it's not ending. Okay, go follow me on social media. But this is really just where I'm going to start the short for YouTube. I have to clip it with my screen captures software. And I completely forgot what I was about. Oh, my God, I did all that, and it didn't actually do anything because I don't know the software. Now I forgot what it was. Oh, yeah, Cannibal. Okay, the proof. Here. What's up, everyone? Sir Hunts for YouTube. This is a short from a live stream that I did. The reason why Cannibal has not been around since before the Targaryens were in Westeros is very simple. The one bit of lore that we have about Cannibal is the name. The reason why Cannibal is called Cannibal is because it eats other dragons. Not big ones, but little tiny babies. It would break into the hatcheries at Dragonstone. We've seen in House of the Dragon that the dragon hatcheries are inside caves. Daemon had to crawl into one. So Cannibal is small enough to fit inside of a cave. Please stop this nonsense rhetoric that it was some massive dragon. It just isn't true. Bam. That was the thing. All right, so I guess I'll do that too, just to make it where I would clip it. All right, so where's the live stream? There we go. I need to change the little triangle thing. I got to change the little triangle thing to something like with flames, because it'll look more fluid. I think I could actually build an entire layout paying the $20 a month for the ultra stuff. I think it's called like it's Streamlabs normal. You can use that for free, but you can't do all the stuff that I'm doing unless you pay the $20. I think I paid the $20, so hoping you can't do all this shit that I'm doing. If you can, I'm an idiot for not trying to do it first. But to be fair, I did just try to do it the last time I used Streamlabs, and it didn't work. None of it worked. I remember I tried to do the stream, and my chat wouldn't even show up. So I think they want you to pay for it. All right, so back to Pebbles 83 question. Sorry about that, Pebbles. So yes, that was the Cannibal. The young Griff, that was one thing that I was saying. The young, if he does, and Daenerys, either she dies and her dragons go wild, or she marries husbands that aren't young Griff, Aegon, right? And he has no choice because the dragons have already been claimed. Having a backup source is dope because he's got Blackfire, right? We don't know for sure yet, but I'm positive he has Blackfire. Everybody's like, where's Blackfire? Well, if Aegon himself was saved, you don't think Blackfire was taken with him? Aegon probably doesn't even know that Blackfire was taken with him, but Illyrio and, obviously Varys wanted to secure it, so Varys will probably give it to him. Varys just killed Kevin Lannister, Cersei and Tyrion's uncle. Varys just killed him with a crossbow and his little birds. He knows where Blackfire is. Let's think about it. The last time we know where Blackfire is kind of on the show almost, except for, no, it's in the Blackfire Rebellions. The last time we see it is with Bittersteel, right? If I'm not mistaken, the Golden Company potentially has Blackfire, right? Who possessed it after that? Nobody, because during that same time period, Bloodraven goes north of the wall with Dark Sister. Dark Sister could potentially be Longclaw, but Longclaw came from House Mormont. But anyway, Blackfire would be kept secret because something like that will legitimize anybody with white and silver hair and purple eyes. They'd be like, I'm a long-lost kin of the Targaryens. Let me unite the realm, which is what he's going to go do, and he's convinced to do that by Tyrion. But yes, so let me reread the whole thing, because I got confused. My questions are, do you think these dragons were able to leave clutches? Yes, I do, and I think those eggs were used at the tragedy of Summerhall, which is basically, oh yeah, that's what I was saying. Egg at the tragedy of Summerhall. George is kind of sick of why he calls them eggs, because he wasn't just trying to bring back dragons. He was trying to make them age faster too. That's what my big lore twist that I was going to reveal was, because Daenerys' dragons were brought back in a way in which they age faster. Like, that's clear. That's established from at least, well, no, it's not fair. At least that made it seem, the TV show just made it seem like that. Like, Balerion was a big boy. So Drogon, being a mostly black, red scales, red like crest. The crest of Drogon's scales are red, right? But his flame, if I'm not mistaken, is black with scarlet fire shot through. It's very similar to Balerion's flame. Scarlet, black swirls. Like the dragon's flame are multicolored in the books. They're not on the TV show. The Night King's dragon was multicolored on the TV show, to be fair. It was cool. But they try to make it seem like they did it because they wanted to show the difference in color, because they said it would be confusing and you wouldn't be able to know which dragon was burning which. That was a really stupid excuse, guys. Just say you got the idea from the books. That was really silly. But yes, and then your next question was, how long do you think they all survived after the dance? So the last we get is of Sheepstealer. No. Well, yeah, Sheepstealer is one of them. So Sheepstealer probably ended up dying from old age. Or something similar. Maybe there was a war that George hasn't revealed yet, but there was a war with the Burnmen where the dragon ended up dying, because obviously the dragon lived longer than Nettles herself, or maybe Nettles prolonged her life by flying off with Sheepstealer to Valyria, and there's no historical record of it. But then you also have Queen Alisane's dragon, Silverwing, right? And the last time they're seen is on Red Lake. Right, so Red Lake is this area. So I think near the area of Tumbleton. There's two different battles that happen in Tumbleton, and the second one is really tragic. The dragons pretty much mutilate each other, but Silverwing flies away, and the last time she's seen is living wild because her rider's dead. Hugh Hammer is dead. Off-White rides Silverwing. Hugh Hammer rides Vermithor. What the fuck am I talking about? So yeah, Off-White dies. The second battle of Tumbleton. So does Alan Valerion. Adam Valerion, who, the one who has Loyal on his tomb. Alan Oakenfist survives and dies at sea. He sort of he tries to go on several journeys like Corlys, his dad, but his grandpa. Right, but it's his actual dad, because everybody knows Laenor's gay, right? On the TV show and in the books. So, Corlys propositions this dude as his grandson, but it's not. And he only does it after Rhaenys dies. Rhaenys dies at the Battle of Rook's Rest, excuse me. So anyway, the Battle of Tumbleton is terrible. That's if I'm not mistaken, obviously, Silverwing would have to be there because their rider Off-White dies there. So yeah, so Silverwing just sort of disappears on Red Lake. And then the second or the third question, do you think young Griff would come across? It's possible. And then he could have Blackfire, a Dragon Egg, and my son's about to have a tantrum again. He randomly started saying, I'm sorry. He goes through these like day phases where he's saying stuff. Like last week it was, what happened? It was really adorable. He's doing that now. But yeah, so if he had several items like that, it would just, kind of at that point doesn't matter if he's a Blackfire or a Targaryen, because honestly, Blackfires were legitimized in the sense that Aegon the Unworthy said that all of his bastards are legitimate. So House Blackfire was formed by a legitimate dude. His actions were atrocitoristic. I just made up a new word. Like, he committed atrocities, but so did all the other people. Bloodraven, who was on House Targaryen's side during the Blackfire Rebellion, committed atrocities too. He fucking ate people. And also he committed treason by killing... Isn't it Bittersteel? He kills Bittersteel after they've been promised safety and that they would be sent to the wall. He kills them. And they were promised in the name of the king. So when Egg becomes king, he has to send Bloodraven to the wall. And guess what? Bloodraven makes it there safely. But yeah, so I think that was the last... Yep, that Pebbles... Wait. No, I think Destiny said she submitted something during the stream, right? Let me see. Oh, wait, no, she didn't. Oh, she didn't say anything at all. I think I saw her typing in the chat. She said, just, you're doing a good job or something. I don't know. Thank you for that. Also, thank you for every single member of my Patreon family, and thank you to every single person watching this live stream. I don't know how long. Well, no, I do, because I started at 8, so we've been doing about 2.5 hours. That's awesome. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the new layout. Hopefully you guys were entertained, and thank you for giving me your time. Yeah, thank you for everybody. Oh yeah, thank you for all of a massive amount of super chats. Thank you again to Pebbles83, the North Must Remember, Jesse Ponce, Jay, Breanne Johnson, Brickfoot Steve, Emily Bartram. Oh wait, these are people that just subscribed. Sorry. Thank you, Breanne Johnson, Jay, Jesse Ponce, and North Must Remembers, and Pebbles83. Thank you all.